back to the party, everybody. This is Morty, and I am your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Everybody hit that like and subscribe. You know I would do it for you, and let's party. Big shout out to the replay gang. Thank you so much for coming back to watch this, even though you missed the live party, guys. That is the best part, so make sure you are here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, and sometimes whenever I feel like it. So hit that subscribe, and you will never miss an Indian Jesus live party ever again. Let's also say thank you to my6shirt.com, the only place to get your very own The Indian Jesus official merch. More designs coming soon at my6shirt.com. All right. What is good? Welcome to the party, guys. As you know, a lot has been going down in the world of politics, and it's always a struggle to kind of, when something big happens like Iowa and Vivek dropping out and Ron dropping out, there, a lot is moving around all at the same time. And it can be difficult to kind of find yourself in what's going on. Shout out to the Camcast. Welcome to the party. Another awesome YouTuber. Just dropped the link to his channel. Please go check that out. Welcome to the party, brother. The illustrious Glenn Beck was on PBD recently, and I never was into politics when Glenn Beck was really in his heyday. But from all the time talking to you guys, apparently you guys love Glenn Beck. So let's just do it. As always, guys, if you cannot hear the video, please do let me know.
Last week, Donald Trump called me and he said, any advice on who I should pick for vice president?
Oh, really?
Who do you think? Not that he's probably calling everyone.
But that's great that you're on that list.
And so he said, who do you think? And I said, I don't know how you're going to feel about it, but this is the day, I think it was the day he trashed Vivek. And I said,
shout out to Vivek.
And he said, why do you say that? He said, that's the number one response from everybody I've asked.
The number one response from everybody he asked who should be the VP is Vivek Ramaswamy.
And he said, why do you say that? And I said, A, he can defend you. He's right in your pocket. And while you're defending this, he's watching your back defending this. I said, also, I think some of his ideas are really, really good. Yeah. He connects with the youth, which now the latest of 8.
It would be easier to say, why not Vivek?
18 to 24-year-olds that voted for Biden, they're not voting for Biden, but they won't vote for Donald Trump yet. So you get...
See, but if that's the case, then Vivek would not be the pick that you want, because typically you choose somebody to bring in more votes. And it seems very obvious that anybody who is looking to vote for Vivek is very obviously going to already vote for Trump. So, I mean, as much as I would love to see that ticket, strategically, I don't know if that's the best move.
That lower vote, the people that are excited about, hey, something fresh and different, and then in 2028, when you can no longer run, you continue for another 8 years.
Yeah, and so that is when Ron DeSantis was on with PBD, and PBD brought up the idea of the alpha president versus the flag carrier president, and which one are you? And of course, we can see Donald Trump is a flag carrier type president, and it's not a negative thing to be a flag carrier, because that's exactly what Vivek would have been. But of course, Ron wouldn't give an answer because he didn't want to look weak and ended up looking weak. And so that, there's some cons and some pros. The cons are that you're probably not going to get any new votes. The pros are obviously that Vivek is awesome. Heaven forbid that he gets taken off the ballot or some effery goes down and he's not able to be on the ballot, then Vivek is right there. But the other side of it is, again, that's kind of the same group of voters, and so that is where a lot of people are talking about Nikki Haley. I think he's said so much that he won't pick Nikki Haley, but it needs to be somebody that's going to bring in a different crowd than the MAGA crowd.
Right,
and you get the credit for bringing this new, fresh face in. I said, I just think you become legendary.
And what did he say to that?
He already is legendary. All right, Glenn, come on.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
I actually, the more and more I think about it, having spent countless amount of time with Vivek, absolute stud. I could see it, man.
I
I could see it. What do you guys think? Can you see that?
I think both self-identify as women for the inauguration. Would be the first woman. I mean, that would be the funniest thing ever.
To the first female ticket, or it wouldn't be female. The first woman ticket would be Donald Trump and Vivek Ramaswamy identifying as women.
What do you think about Tulsi?
I would take.
I like-
Ooh, interesting. Again, I would have voted for Tulsi in 2016. Was it 2016 or 2020 that she ran? Whichever one. I was ready to vote for her. But she's been kind of wishy-washy since then, and I like what she says. I don't know if I trust her right in the Oval Office, though.
Tulsi.
Does the vice president work in the Oval? You know what I mean.
I like her a lot. I don't think she helps Donald Trump. Maybe she helps with the left, but or with the Democrats, not the left.
Well, that's a good distinction, because there are people who are Democrats who could be serenaded into casting a vote for Trump. Very few of them, but there are some of those out there. When we talk about the left, that's a more cultural thing. Ain't nobody voting for Trump.
But maybe she helps. I think knowing Donald Trump, especially the Donald Trump of 2016, I think that's the move he'd like to make. I think he'd, a Democrat, somebody that is not normal. I think he really has a true desire to come together, and I think he believes we can come together.
I agree. I think that, a lot of Trump's rhetoric is, hey, we could be, and not that he's the best with delivering the proper message, but I think a lot of his rhetoric comes from, if y'all would just stop being whatever, then we could get along. And I don't think that, like I said, I don't think it's taken that way very often, but I agree with Glenn here.
Just like after he wrecks somebody and then he destroys them, he's like, hey, buddy, how are you? You're like, I'm a wreck right now.
I'm on fire.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Hey, shout out to Virgil, all the way from Manchester, England. Welcome to the party, brother. Thank you for that heart react.
If 12% of America run elections, right? And I know people say it's not really 12, it's more like 40,000 or 70,000 different counties and all this. So let's just say the 10 to 12% libertarian independents that are like, dude, I can't do Trump.
Yes.
Oh,
but you know what?
That's like a Dave Smith. That's like a Dave Smith who's like libertarian.
Tulsi? Really? Okay. So you know how Trump strategically picked Pence, and Pence brought the Christian.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, that guy is a easygoing guy, Christian man, boys,
easygoing,
Indiana, all this.
Of all the words that you could use to describe Mike Pence, easygoing is not one of them. I mean, he's certainly not erratic, but I don't know what easygoing.
Okay. We're not worried about him, but at least he's going to be in his ear to make sure God, all this stuff is going to. So the independents are going to be like, look, man, I'm telling you, I'm sitting this one out. I'm not voting for the left, and I'm not voting for Trump. I want to sit this one out. Now they're going to be like, whoa, Tulsi, interesting. So she can bring some of those ideas. Maybe Trump's going to be open to some of the libertarian and independent ideas. Strategically speaking, if you're strategy.
What do you guys think on Tulsi? I think that would be a waste. I don't think it would do what he would want it to do, and I think it would hurt his base. I don't think that's a good move.
Do you think it's more important to hire someone as a VP that's going to replace you the next 8 years, or do you think it's better to hire someone as a VP that's going to help you win today? And the people you need to win today is the independent voters and the libertarian voters like a Joe Rogan or an Elon Musk that would be willing to have her to do a live. Elon Musk does a live with her or spaces with her. It's like, hey, the vice president, da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah, I agree with all that. But the problem, or not the problem, but the anomaly here is that Trump already has so much support that I don't really feel like he needs to bring anyone else in. I think that in terms of his base, like the Republican base is there. So I don't think there's very many people who are waiting on the VP pick to determine whether or not they're voting for Trump. Is that enough? I can never get enough love, but any love you will send my way, I will gladly take it. Welcome to the party, brother.
And hey, Joe Rogan, man, those, you know what? I'm not going to vote for Trump, but she sells it as, look, guys, I also was like you at one point, but here's where I'm at. Let me explain to you why. It took me 4 years to learn what Biden did, et cetera, et cetera.
So
do you see that?
I do see that, and that's why I would pick Vivek, because Vivek could get on Joe Rogan and just hammer it through. But
and I mean, he's shown that in the past however many months, just doing podcast after radio show after radio show. He can get out there and say the things that that Trump would. I would be very scared to put a live microphone in front of Trump when he is across from somebody who's willing to push back against him. I mean, he's good in terms of handling himself, but in terms on the substance of what he's saying, sometimes that live scenario is not good for his policies. It's good for his personality, but policy-wise, Vivek would do amazing.
It is the vice president. Anything could happen. If I were president, I would never pick somebody like Kennedy picked Johnson. Johnson's the guy that I know.
Well, he had to.
I know.
Hey, shout out to Soil. Welcome to the party. Welcome. Hope everyone is good tonight, as do I. Good to see ya.
Johnson's the guy that I know.
Well, he had to.
I know.
Yeah.
But he's the guy who stopped the Civil Rights Act in 1959. Sure. Okay. He was a racist till the day he died.
But some say Kennedy wouldn't have won without Johnson.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So, but can you?
And so that's the question, though. If we're in a situation where, okay, Kennedy wouldn't have won without Johnson, we're not in that same position where there is a particular name where I'd say Trump would not win without blank. Who is in that position that they could really put Trump over the edge? Because again, the fact is that with the majority of the Republican base, he's already got it. The majority of the Democratic base won't vote for him either way. So, I mean, it's definitely important, but I feel like PBD is overplaying it here.
Find something closer to you. Now, maybe Tulsi is close, but I think there's enough conservatives as well that, when you hear Trump say things like, we're not going to cut any of the entitlements. Have you seen the debt? Okay, we're not an expanding country. You can take on debt as long as you're expanding and growing and getting bigger. We're getting smaller.
Yep.
And
I don't believe you, Virgil. I don't believe you.
You can't continue to take on this debt. And so when you hear things like that, as a conservative, I'm afraid he'll spend just as much as Joe Biden will, and the Republicans will go right along with him. And if you put somebody in that I don't know is rock solid on basic principles of our Constitution, and I think I'm comfortable enough with Tulsi to be able to say I think she's pretty solid on the Bill of Rights and the
Wow, he's riding pretty hard for Tulsi, and I mean, again, I don't have anything that negative to say about her. I definitely I've enjoyed, like I said, I enjoyed her appearances on Joe Rogan. I definitely would have voted for her if the over Hillary Clinton. Not a huge feather in her cap, but. It's interesting to me that Glenn Beck is like Tulsi. I feel like a Carrie Lake would be better for that. But again, now we're talking about the same base. A Larry Elder would also work there. If you're looking at a woman, what other ladies are out there? Virgil's always capping. Virgil's just stay capping.
Constitution. You don't want somebody who differs with you on that.
Let me ask the question. Then let me ask the question, maybe in a different way here. So, which sport do you like the most? What's your sport? Like, what do you watch?
UFC, baby! Shout out to Bud Light. Shout out to Bud Light for sponsoring all the words of Sean Strickland this past weekend. Shout out to Bud Light for being the free speech beer, unironically. So I will say, unlike if he chose Nikki, I would still vote Trump if he chose Tulsi. But yeah, I prefer Carrie Lake or even Christy Nome. That's another name I've been seeing float around a lot. I'm not too familiar with her, but yeah. Shout out to AKA182. Welcome to the party. Say Tim Scott being a good choice. I could see that as well. Yeah, I do. It does feel like he is it does feel like there's something kind of unspoken that like it would be better to have a woman. I don't know what it is. There's nothing that I can grab onto and point to, but it just feels like he's looking at a woman. Am I wrong? Am I pulling that out of my ass?
You're not a sports guy.
Football. I'm not really a sports guy.
Okay, let's just say it's football, right? Okay.
All right, put one in the chat if you do not know anything about football, so I'll explain what he's saying.
So, say you got somebody that runs a 4.2 40. Let's just say 4.3 40. Adam, you can participate in this one here. Say a person runs a 4.3 40. They're 6'1", 195 pounds.
So they run fast and they're tall and they are in shape.
And they bench 225 at the combine 22 times. Stud, fast, can jump high, 38-inch vertical leap. And coach comes in. You're like, look, this guy's a decent wide receiver. He's a 7.5.
Okay.
But he's not an 8. Well, he just ran a 4.28 in a 40. Okay. He can.
So I mean, again, if again, just saying like this guy has all the stats on paper. He's when he plays, but he just ran really, really fast in this test. So I feel the same. It would get more votes, possibly the woman thing. It is in the air. I knew it. I knew it. I got you. Yeah. So we're just saying that the guy is he's a decent. He can catch the ball decently. He's got decent hands. And he's a 7.5, not quite an 8. But at the time that we're actually testing all these things, when we're saying, okay, this is the number that really matters. This time that you run really matters. He did really, really, really well. So that's the situation that he's setting up. So this guy's, on paper, he's a 7.5 when we're looking for an 8. But he did come through on that really fast run. Shout out to Zippy the Strange. Welcome to the party. Personally, I would go for Sarah Palin. I saw an adult film about her, and she was hot. I think I might know what you're talking about there.
Can jump 38 inches. Okay, he can bench 22 times 2 plates. The guy's got an incredible personality.
I didn't rewind it. He already said this.
Great attitude, smart as hell, great locker room guy, but he's not a full-on wide receiver. In his entire career, he's played wide receiver, but he can outrun everybody. What do we do with him? As a team GM, coach, you could say, well, let's test him out to see if we can train him to be a cornerback. Let's see if we can put him over here. Can we put him at this? Can we put him at slot? Can we put him at this?
So basically, the guy's always running to catch the ball, and he has all these attributes that are really great. But at that specific task of running to catch the ball, he's not great. So maybe we put him over here where he, he can we still need his speed, but we don't need his hands. We don't need to worry about whether or not he's going to catch the ball. Just as long as he's in position, he's good. And so what PBD is asking Glenn Beck is, okay, you have this guy that, maybe we're looking at it as VP. I think that's where he's going. And maybe he's not a VP, but he's a Secretary of Defense or something like that. That's the scenario that he is setting up. Shout out to Indie Film. Welcome to the party. It's an off and on fan of Glenn Beck since 2001. Interesting. I knew you and Guamtech are always talking about listen to Glenn Beck. So I'm hoping he shows up at some point, but welcome to the party. Good to have a Glenn Beck fan in the house. So the soul said, I voted casual fan. I'll listen to Glenn every now and then. Okay, fair enough. Our running poll is, were you ever a fan of Glenn Beck? So we have yes, no, and listen casually, but not a fan. And we are split between the three of them. So we'll see how that plays out. To be strange that Glenn Beck is okay-ish. Like Rush can paint himself into a corner. I liked O'Reilly more, but I was a grump even back then. Yeah, I mean, I do remember that Bill O'Reilly was the first person that I listened to in terms of, like, I'm consciously going to listen to somebody talk about politics. That's because my dad was always watching Fox News whenever he was home. And I think I've read one of his books or like listen to the audio of one of his books. And I don't know. I there was a lot that was said that made sense at the time, but this was before I had started paying attention at all. And this was before Trump was on the scene. And so I thought of myself as a liberal. And, by the time O'Reilly got in trouble and all that stuff. So, that's kind of like a generation before I was really, really paying attention. So, this will be really interesting. Yeah, exactly.
Train him to be a cornerback. Let's see if we can put him over here. Can we put him at this? Can we put him at slot? Can we put him at this? Maybe we put him punt return and you work on him for 2 years. And maybe put him kickoff return because he's so versatile, right?
Right. Oh, my goodness. Shout out to Zippy, the Strange, starting up early with a gifted membership. And, of course, every single donation comes with a treat for Morty. Thank you. And, of course, that makes you the new sponsor of the stream. Thank you so very much, sir. Very, very much appreciated.
To be a cornerback. Let's see if we can put him over here. Can we put him at this? Can we put him at slot? Can we put him at this? Maybe we put him punt return and you work on him for 2 years. And maybe put him kickoff return because he's so versatile, right? Do you think Vivek is versatile enough for him to be able to position him in a different place to still enforce and do his part, yet put
and I think with Tulsi
in a VP?
So, very interesting question. So just what I was saying about, so the soul exactly got it, just making sure you are maximizing, where all your players are. And then asking that about Vivek. And, I honestly think that vice president is probably the least appropriate role for Vivek, outside of the fact that it is now something that, I guess more so than in the past, that it sets you up for the next presidential run. So interesting. I would say, it's aside from that aspect that we want Vivek in office in 2028, I think that's the worst spot for him. So I would put him somewhere else. Whereas if you thought of running, Jesus, we need a spiritual soul in the White House. Hell no. Not me.
Still enforce and do his part, yet put
and I think with Tulsi
in a VP position. You don't see it.
I don't see it. I think it's a move that Donald Trump would like to do because it's way out of the box. I think people would respond to it.
In terms of on Tulsi's end, or in terms of putting Vivek somewhere?
I'm just concerned about, Trump is not Mr. Constitution. And so I would like Mr. or Mrs. Constitution on board with Donald Trump.
Oh my God. Do we have an early comment of the night? If Virgil came in from the Southern voter, he can vote. I'll give it a dilly. Good one. Yeah, Virgil, come on over. You just got to walk right through. They'll lift the gate for you. They'll give you a bag of supplies. They'll give you an ID. And you're good.
Like Mr. or Mrs. Constitution on board with Donald Trump.
You would like.
I would like.
But that's not the...
So he's saying Trump is not Mr. Constitution. He would like somebody like that on the ticket. I'm just processing that. I mean, because I do think that Trump is kind of like, I don't think he's so tied to the actual Constitution. I think it's the heart of America that really drives him. And so that might not be a huge difference, but until it is. Right? It's not a huge difference until it is. Guys, can I just get 3 more likes in here? Thank you so much. I love you guys.
That question, though, there's a difference between what you and I will like versus what's going to win, right? So the question is, winning, putting Tulsi
Never
as...
violate your principles, though.
No, and that's why you get to choose to vote whatever way you want to vote.
Right.
So you and I vote the way...
I missed that. We're going to have to go back to that. So the soul said, I think Vivek would make a good press secretary. Yeah, I'm not against him being VP, but recalling back to that alpha or flag carrier combo, Vivek seems too alpha for VP, if that makes sense. Interesting. Because I was saying that he would be a good flag carrier in terms of Trump, but that is as the president. So I think I agree with you. And again, I completely agree. I completely agree. I don't think that VP, there's not enough for him to be out there and do, unless it's just that the past 4 vice presidents have been so ineffective that I just have never seen an effective vice president. but I don't know that. Shout out to M169. Welcome to the party. Said like upon arrival, folks. Would be very much appreciated if you did. Thank you so much, and welcome to the party. Good to see ya. Zippy says Vivek would be a good VP, though he would need to be kept on a leash as he may multitask everyone into the ground. But that's exactly the point. Is that he can get so much more done in other places. And, if we're talking about press secretary, get him up there and try to make Trump look bad, try to make him look bad. Ain't gonna happen. He's gonna have answers for everything. Just like, remember when we had Kaylee Kaylee McElhaney, you know what I'm talking about. Trump's press secretary. She was in there. She had her binder. She was like, "Nope, sit down. This, nope, don't the thing." And then now we got Kareem Jean-Pierre, and it's like, well, as I circle back, we're gonna have to, rethink our what? Speak English. So the soul says a good point about a seemingly ineffective VPs. I don't think about it, but it's a possibility, I suppose. Yeah, I have no idea. As long as I've been alive, the VP doesn't do shit. And the saying is that they wait around. You're a heartbeat away. You're just waiting for the president today. That's all I've ever seen from a vice president. That's all I've ever seen. Like I couldn't tell you one thing that Biden did as vice president. I know what Kamala is supposed to be doing as vice president, but I couldn't tell you one thing that she's done. I don't know. So he said, Rush and Beck have a bit of boyish troublemaker energy. O'Reilly was more old grump, at least in the late 90s. Okay, fair enough.
We want to vote, and the vote could be, I'm out, I'm in, I'll endorse, I'm going to be quiet, but I'll vote, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
What I'm asking here is more the LBJ John F. I'm so glad you brought that up because that's the perfect example, right? And you just want to make sure this person's not going to end up killing.
Yeah.
Because that's neither one of those people are those types of ambitious, crazy.
Damn, guys, not one more like.
Wild Lyndon Johnson type of people. And again, I'm purely speculating.
Yeah.
But we've all read the books. We know what the mistress said on the site. So going back to it, percentage, odds. Rob, can you run? Matter of fact, I'm going to run a poll, and I'm going to run who would help President Trump. I'm going to run it on Twitter as well right now. Run a poll to see who would be more helpful for Trump winning as a VP, Tulsi and Vivek. And I would be so curious to know what the audience is going to say, especially now because they've heard both sides of the argument.
Yeah.
So I don't know, obviously we're not going through the entire podcast. I just went with the clips. I thought that would be more poignant. So I don't think we're going to get to see the results of that poll, but that would be, I would love to know what other people think, in terms of, specifically Tulsi. It's an interesting question because I don't know why Glenn's so focused on her.
Because I think both of them are rock stars.
Oh, I do too. I would, if I were Donald Trump, I don't necessarily know I would name my VP right now, but I would look to Tulsi and I would look to Vivek and I would say, Tulsi, you want to be the Secretary of Defense. There we go. That's what we're talking. So now we have a plan. Don't announce anybody. Just let it be an open thing. Like, hey, if you want to be VP, show me that you want to be VP, and I'll pick it on January 19th. Makes sense to me. Vivek, do you want to be Treasury Secretary? And I'd put him out on the road, and I'd find these really unique people. Remember, George Bush, he had people freaking out that he was, just a playboy and didn't know what he was doing. And so that's when he got Colin Powell and Dick Cheney, and they went out. He put the team in front of him. I think if Donald, I love hearing this kind of stuff from right before. Like I know who these people are, but I was in high school and earlier when these people were in charge, and I knew of them, but I wasn't paying attention to politics. Trump would assemble a young, vigorous Avengers next generation team that could go out and campaign for him and say, we're the team. Yeah, I think that's a winning strategy right there. I think age and youth and refreshing idea, that whole thing is a very palatable type of message that we're young, we're fresh, we're changing the status quo, all of that stuff. Not only is it appealing to all people, especially young people,
but it comes from truth, because we've already seen a Trump presidency.
We're the team. I think you'd change everything.
So, okay. So then I would say this last thing, and then I want to go to our sponsor real quick. So here's what I would say. I think what's important is, the way we built the insurance company, I'll never forget. One day, Maral and I hired her 14 years ago, 13. She used to be my banker at WAMU back in the days, remember, before Chase it was WAMU.
Wow. So I guess we are going to see it. 69%. So the question, who would help President Trump the most if picked as VP for 2024? I mean, out of the two, I think I would have said Tulsi. Because again, Vivek is already endorsing Trump. He's already there. Why would because as somebody who would prefer to have Vivek over Trump, there's no way that, you know what I mean? I'm already there. So if you get Vivek, then you got me more, but you already got me. So I do think that it's time for the younger blood to take charge. Exactly. And that's another thing that's in the air. I think a little bit more poignant than the female stuff, but just old ass dudes, old ass ladies running this shit into the ground. And it's like, you're going to die soon. And we know it. And you know it. How about some people who actually have a future on this planet?
WAMU and WAMU had all these different regional places.
Wow.
And I brought her
Welcome,
in,
Zippy.
UCLA grad, MBA, smart as hell. And one day I say, look, she says, Pat, I want to be a C-suite. So totally get it. I said, but first you need to report to a C-suite before you can be a C-suite.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, I would like to report to you for as long as I can. I don't want to report to anybody else. I said, listen, are you willing to do whatever it takes to fulfill the vision? Is it vision or is it career? Which one's more important? She says, I believe in the vision. If you believe in the vision, you got to trust me. If you trust me, you report to a C-suite executive that's going to help you become a better executive. Then eventually you'll be an executive. She goes under a CFO, and he teaches her a lot. He was a phenomenal, very good for her. Then she goes and takes a different position, and she learns under a different executive while she's working with me. And then eventually she becomes a president of the insurance company, youngest female president of an insurance company our size that we're doing, crushing it, right? And she's done a great job. I think it's very important for Tulsi and Vivek to hear this. Both of them are very ambitious. Both of them are very smart. Both of them are very creative. Both of them are very...
They're calling.
Sorry, that's...
No, it's your phone. It's somewhere.
Here's something about Taco Bell.
Oh, come on, boomers. Come on, boomers.
Glenn's,
he was on a roll.
Ringtone, by the way.
He was on a roll.
Did I bring my...
It has to be on.
It's on you.
No,
So,
I don't have a phone, so...
Is it your? Oh, is it that? Is it
Oh,
your?
it's the iPad. It's right there. I'm sorry.
got it. It's all good.
Glenn, don't worry. You're Glenn
Sorry
Beck.
about that. Yeah.
Even Glenn Beck makes mistakes.
So here's what I was saying.
Probably Glenn.
If
God damn
by
it,
any
Glenn.
chance Vivek and Tulsi are listening, I think it's important for both of them, who are very competitive, very ambitious, very driven, to put America before whatever job they're going to get.
Oh shit! It was supposed to be a bing ding ding. Absolutely, America first. America first. Let's remember that MAGA and America first are not the same thing, but they absolutely can overlap. They absolutely can overlap.
Both of them would want to be the VP. If they're about America, let the administration decide what job you would have.
And do you see that in them, Pat? Do you
I
see that
see it in both of them.
Gotcha. I do
see
too.
it
I do
because
too.
I think both of them are gangsters.
Yep.
And in my definition,
Has anybody heard? I just haven't heard anything that. I mean, I know Tulsi's around. I know that she is a commentator on these things, but I haven't heard anything specific that would make me be like, "Oh, okay, her." Even though I like her, even though I think that she is, she served in the military. She backed away from the left when it was getting to the wokest. That's about it. I don't know. I feel like I'm missing something.
of a gangster, I mean a political gangster, which is what you need today to go against the enemy. If you don't have a political gangster, this is not the job for you.
I agree.
So this is not going to be 4 years of everybody writing nice things about you. The fact that you're the greatest VP of all time, they're going to be trashing you for 4 straight years in front of your family.
I think this election, something very interesting has happened, because we were all talking about this. The VP used to be, what state do I need to carry? And I do a deal making to see if I can add to my probability of winning.
Yeah. So this notion that, oh, you're next is seemingly, and again, if people are older than me, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems to be something that is becoming more relevant as we move on, as opposed to like, okay, who do I need for now versus who do I need in the future? So the Solo said Vivek doesn't need the VP spot to be able to run for president. Someone like Tulsi, it would help her or hurt her. Either way, she could get the exposure and experience, which leaves the question, why do we not think Vivek needs that experience and or exposure? Personality, attitude, policy promises, interesting to think about. So I would personally say that it's not that he doesn't need the exposure. It's exactly the opposite, that I don't think he would get as that much exposure as the VP. I think he would get more exposure as a press secretary, secretary of defense, something like that. That's where I'm coming from. Shout out to Animal Instinct. Welcome to the party. Said Tulsi would be the best choice strategically because she's a woman and a person of color and a good counter to Kamala Harris. I mean, I don't disagree with any of that, but I just, that begs the question: is there no other female of color that is available? And I'm not saying that no Tulsi. I'm just it's curious to me why her name is so front and center. And maybe I've just missed what she's been saying, but I haven't heard a lot from her. I haven't seen her about, she does these little talking head things on Fox News or CNN or something. But other than that, I don't really know much about her since she was running for president. So I look forward to Trump being the next president. That blinding flash of light when the nuclear war starts will end my sad existence. Well, and as long as Trump got, I don't know. I was gonna have a joke there about something, but it didn't work. It didn't work. All right, you got me.
And I do a deal making to see if I can add to my probability of
Right.
winning.
That's how it used to
Then
be.
you went to an era where the VP was sort of meaningless, but then would get picked on. Remember how they tried to undermine Bush Sr. with Dan Quayle? He's a heartbeat from the presidency.
Yeah.
And they used to play that card.
Yeah, so this is exactly what I was saying, is that I think it seems to be something relevant within more or less our lifetimes, where the VP is kind of just a show position. It's strange if it's not the old zombies, the neocons, screwing things up. It's the current generation, the NWO DEI zombies, who want more screwing things up. Empires die either via short-sighted old people or greedy young people. Well, we've got plenty of short-sighted old people. So, if we need to balance that out with some greedy young people, I am down.
But people didn't see particular succession risk with George W. Bush Sr., Herbert Walker Bush, and so they didn't worry about it. Today, there is more discussion because you have what's it going to be, an 82-year-old and a 78-year-old running? There's more discussion about succession, saying, wow, the
Shout out to HBO. Succession is so good.
VP really freaking matters, and what they stand for matters because it's a platform for the future. I think we're finally at a point after probably 40 years here that there's some real honest discussion going on. And I think it's healthy for America about what that VP means and where do you think they would go next, to your point.
I think you're exactly right. And I think that's the VP that people should be talking about.
Fair.
There's no way that Joe Biden makes it another 4 years with his faculties. He'll be.
What do you mean another 4 years? The faculties are gone. The faculties are gone. Any pretense that this man knows where he is and what he's doing without being shot up with God knows what kind of drugs is a fantasy.
He'll be slurping soup out of, a sippy cup, probably the first year in.
So you say that doesn't happen now?
Exactly. And one thing said, Tulsi humiliated Kamala Harris during the 2020 primary debate. That's right. It was 2020. So I was ready to vote for her in 2020. She's from Hawaii, so could also bring up Biden failing to provide aid to Maui. And that's what I've heard her talking about. That's really the only stuff I've heard her talking about now that I think about it. Failing to provide for Maui, but she has leftist views that wouldn't appeal to MAGAs. And that's, even though she's backed away from the wokeness stuff, she still is a Democrat. She's still a Democrat. And I just don't, I don't trust anybody who's gotten that far in politics where you're running for president in the Democratic Party, I don't know. I don't trust it. I don't trust it. It's just too convenient. It's too convenient because all of us can see that the pendulum is moving in one direction. Now, most of us, it wasn't the case, but we were fighting for that to happen. And now that what we are working for is coming true, she's going to, she was against us the whole time. And now she's going to clean up on it. I don't know about all that. So he says the greedy young people want riches by selling off what the neocons have not got around to selling, though. The Uniparty will not let sanity return to politics. All right, well, that's the show then, guys. It was a nice try, but America is over. Thanks for hanging out. Until next time. No, of course not. Alexa said, truly no offense meant, but I didn't realize Tulsi is a POC. I think, isn't she like, she is like, I don't even know what the right word is, but I think she's like a native Hawaiian. What do they call the native Hawaiian people? I don't fucking know, but yeah, exactly. And especially somebody who is in the military, who knows what, like, I can not excuse it, but at least understand that if you're some liberal who's never, Samoa, there you go. Samoa, there we go. Thank you. I can understand if you've never touched a gun and you're scared of them because you didn't know any better, because that was essentially me until a few years ago. But if you're in the military, you know what, you get it. So there's no reason, even if you backed away. Did you back away, or did you just realize that it was politically advantageous for you to back away? You know what I mean? Yeah, that's Samoan. That's what we're talking about. Virgil said, I live in a tent in a shop doorway. Oh, you can't use the same ones over and over. Come on, you gotta get fresh shit up here, bro. Come on.
A sippy cup, probably the first year in.
Oh, you say that doesn't happen now?
Yeah, I know. And Kamala Harris.
Come on, guys. You never make me beg for likes. What's going on?
Would be a nightmare. I mean, all of our enemies would go, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
So how are you going to elect Joe Biden when you know it's going to be Kamala? And he can't replace Kamala.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yep.
He can't.
Yeah.
And
He
can you
can't.
imagine Vivek on
He
stage
can't, bro.
debating
By the way,
Kamala?
the poll just
How
came
much
out.
he would destroy her?
3,544 votes
Yeah.
so far, 69% Vivek.
Okay, so it never ended. 69% for Vivek. Interesting. All right, so we're moving on to another clip here, and this was them talking about what's going on in Texas. So if you're not aware, the Border Patrol has just been, literally opening the gate. And so Texas Governor Greg Abbott sent his people in there, and we're like, no, get the fuck out. We're doing this shit. We're securing the border. And now a bunch of other states are sending resources, people, and so on and so forth, because Biden's people are just not doing it. They're just not doing it. Before we move on, Hawaiian or Pacific Islander, also known as Samoan. So the soul said Tulsi follows the politics of convenience. Whichever the wind blows is what I feel. That's what I get from her. That's what I get from her as well. And it wouldn't be ideal if it was that she had a genuine change, and it's just that the other people that we've seen that have had a change are doing this politics of convenience. That would suck. But that's why you don't run for president in one party before you really know that that's your party. So he said those in the army are trained to follow rules, so only a few are hard-headed enough not to be brainwashed. Interesting. Well, I mean, yeah, so being in the army does not mean they have common sense. Not about, that comment wasn't that I made. It wasn't about having common sense. It was about understanding guns, specifically. Understanding like, oh, okay, this isn't scary as long as you know how to use it. It's a tool just like any other. Like, you know that. Trump is my hero. He's so camp. I don't know what camp means. Anyone 6-8 Biden is suddenly pretending to care about the border because it's closer to elections and doing more student loan forgiveness. Of course. I was just I was looking for some you guys know how I love my brain rotting reality TV when I want to turn my brain off. And I'm from Jersey, so I was a huge Jersey Shore fan. They had the second version, I guess. Floribama Shore from Panama City Beach in Florida. I've been watching that. And there's one of the dudes keeps wearing this free what is it, free college, I don't know, like give free college or something, and it's just like, you don't get it. What about all the people before you who didn't get free college? To be said, POC always means politics of convenience. I like that. Good one. Yeah, she might, and so that goes back. Yeah, so this goes back. She might attract the independent voter. This goes back to the idea that, well, the vice president isn't really doing anything, and they're just there to bring in extra votes. Well, then Tulsi is a good, a good choice. It's tough. I mean, I really don't know. And let's not forget that despite what anybody said, if you think that Nikki Haley is completely out of the running for VP, you are sadly mistaken. I know everybody's saying it, but we never expected half of the shit that's happened already this year. It's still January, and we wouldn't have bet on any of this stuff. So there are very hard rules on guns in the armies. Those hard rules are too much for civilians. So that does make sense. That's what stopped me before. You're saying to follow rules, and only a few are hard-headed enough not to be brainwashed. So that definitely kind of I think that might apply to her. I don't know. Animal Instinct was saying Biden is ramping up. So said not so sure. Feds are tearing down razor wire in Texas as we speak. That's not caring about the border, in my opinion. I think it's too late for him on that one. Well, that's the whole issue here that we're going to get into, is that they're not doing much. Oh, gotcha. I thought that was some new something or another. All right.
Who is the former editor of Chinese state-run Global
Times?
Times?
God damn it. Hold on.
For war if Taiwan seeks independence under President William Lai Ching-te, who was...
Hold on. Getting ahead of myself. We're moving to China next, but we're not there yet. Okay.
Colony-rich Texas. Now, Glenn, before we get into it, do you want to set it up before we play the trailer here for this documentary?
So there are two stories that came out. One was from the
Not gonna happen.
Daily Wire, and one was from the New York Post. And they say that this was run by the drug cartels, that it's going to be the biggest population in one place of illegal immigrants. They don't speak English, that it's a horror show. So when we went down, that's what I was expecting. What I found,
if he says even worse,
was not that,
okay,
but I think just as bad.
Oh.
And this is this gigantic, goes on for miles, this gigantic plot of land where developers are selling it legally to illegals for I think it's $100 down. You can buy a house.
What?
Okay?
$100 down. You don't need any papers because you don't have any, and you can own a home. Can you do that, citizen? Me neither.
$100 down, 15, not a house, land. And it's, I think, 15% or 14% interest, okay? And people are buying it. 30% default rate, 30%. So they default because they're carrying the note. You're in default. I take your land back. I resell it. This is a moneymaker like you can't believe. You cannot import 10 million people into a country and not have communities like this. This is the future of America if we don't wake up.
Oh, but yeah, the whole great replacement stuff is not about Americans. It's about white people. So remember the whole ideology of it's for your protection is that things are too hard to do, thus you should not do them. So we make rules to protect you. Once you go down that road, it's hard to change. Yeah. And shout out to Judge Judy. But yeah, and this is a problem of culture building. That it's not just an idea of, oh, this particular thing is here for my protection. The government is here. It's a like you said, an ideology of all of this is here to protect me. So that's where I'm going to look for my protection to the government. That's where protection comes from. Wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong. I mean, for some people, but not for the country at large. Certainly not.
This is the future of America if we don't wake up. Have you ever been to Brazil? You go to Rio, nice houses right out of the gate, poverty like you've never seen, right? That's what's coming to America. We are becoming a third world nation, and this is the canary in the coal mine.
Rob, if you got the clip to play it, Diego, if you want to make it bigger and let
how dare they, Virgil? How dare
Not
they?
that
Yeah,
guy.
let's
He's
get
gonna
that
tell you
guy.
about your poop.
So I hope they got some crazy footage here, because this is the thing that you need to see because we've always had issues at the border, but we need to see the scale. No longer is it an issue that it's happening. Now the issue is how much of it is happening. The idea that it's happening, we've just accepted it is what it is. But now the new issue is this is just too much. And now when you get people from people like I forget his name, the Chicago governor, you get Eric Adams in New York saying, we can't do this. It's going to take New York down. Maybe then you shouldn't have called yourself a sanctuary state. Maybe you shouldn't have danced around in front of your constituents for virtue signal points if you didn't expect it to come land in your lap. So we've turned our culture of independence into a culture of complacency, and authoritarianism is not far behind that. Agreed.
I
think that's a commercial.
Not that
Yeah,
guy.
let's
He's
get
gonna
that
tell you
guy.
about your
Let's
poop.
see what. All right.
Your
Let's
poop.
get it.
Go ahead.
That's what he does.
Go ahead, Rob.
Really? Okay.
Go for it.
Time Joe Biden's out of office, there will be about 10 million new people in here. If you have 10 million
This is what I'm talking about. The scale.
people coming in, where are they living?
Oh, there we go.
Look at the size of this.
The fastest growing development in Texas is just a 30-minute drive from Houston. Any idea
30 minutes.
of how many are illegal?
The majority. The majority. The majority.
Not some, not a lot, the majority.
I'm like Sears and Roebuck. I have a product, I created it, I sell it.
Does it bother you at all, just culturally,
Oh, the
in
puppies.
America, to have 150,000 people that are speaking another language?
Own something of your own your own home. That's what we're trying to create for people here.
For $100, you can come to this country with no papers and have your own home.
If it's the American dream, why don't you advertise in English?
They are going against humanity, against Americans, non-Americans, a lot of races, a lot of people.
Like, we were dumb for even falling into this.
Yeah, you were. Yeah, you were down for falling into it, but only to a certain extent. Only to a certain extent. The fact is, people who believe in this stuff are absolutely victims of the circumstance. Shout out to Trey Williams. Welcome to the party. So as a Texan, I can promise you, it's always been this bad. All right, well then, that goes even more to my point, that if it's not any worse than it ever was, I mean, oh, this is going to take down New York City. I don't know how Greg Abbott is so mean. I mean, this man lives there. Born and raised. I'm just watching the news, but born and raised in Texas, telling me this is bad as it's always been. And we send literally 50 people. It's like, oh, we have no place for them. It's cold here. Should have stayed in Mexico. Welcome to the party, Trey. As we said, blind faith in the system, cult of the city reborn. Yep, that's how it goes.
Like, we were dumb for even falling into this. But I mean, what do we do? What do we do?
If you
You vote for Trump. Let's
import
go.
the third world, you end up becoming more third world.
I've started that game.
When you import the third world, you become the third world. Goddamn.
Afghanistan, every war-torn or third world country always has that same distinct smell, and it's the smell of burning trash.
You can see all the undeveloped lots. This could become massive.
I mean, come on. This is just land that could be for anything. It could be for anything. It could be for funneling money away from your pocket, going into the American government's pocket, to the tax system. Even that would be better than just handing it over to people who have no stake in your future. Yeah, Britain is finding out how third world it can be. And we are next. We are next.
Gunfire shooting up here, just pow, pow.
And I mean, hey, there is a lot of space in Canada. There's a lot of space in Canada. Trudeau, if you want to bring all those people up there, please, please. If it's been this bad for decades, please do all the virtue signaling of you're so much better than everybody else. You know, you're soft voice. I'm Justin Trudeau, and this is how I talk. Say, welcome, illegal immigrants. You can stay in our country in the Great White North, and we'll give you everything for free because we don't care. Do that. Just get the fuck out of America.
Pow, pow, come in front of my house.
My wife's advice was, don't piss off any cartels. I said, I'll try.
Is this the future for America?
Yup.
Because this is the path we're on as an entire country.
Damn.
This is a completely new population.
I talked.
Interesting. So that's that. So Trey, when you say it's always been this bad, are you just kind of talking about in general, like it's always been too much, or are you actually looking at numbers and saying like, okay, yeah, there's an increase, but like something like this is playing up the number of people that have started coming more recently? Because that is absolutely not only a narrative from people on the right, but from the migrants themselves. Which, you know, again, whenever it comes to anything that's even close to war zone journalism, which, the border is close enough, it's very hard to know who's lying, who's just putting bullshit out there or whatever. But, I mean, there are people saying, there's entire groups of people, entire caravans of people with Biden-Harris shirts on, saying, we came because Biden said he would help us. We would like to go to New York, please. And at least I didn't know about that until recently. And one thing said, let's try that one again. Animal Instinct said, we need to hope RFK, Jill Stein, and Cornel West don't drop out of the race. They will take votes away from Biden in swing states. I thought Cornel West was already out. I mean, RFK is really, I have not heard one word from Jill Stein since 2020. So I don't know how I don't think the margins are that thin. Maybe I'm wrong. RFK, I'm with you. RFK, I'm with you. That could really do a lot of damage to Biden, but there's also the damage factor to Trump. But I think RFK takes way more votes away from Biden than Trump. So the souls of 90% of Canadians live within a couple hours from the U.S. border. It is too cold in most of all that space for humans to live, unfortunately. Well, they're sending them, what did we say? To the U.S. border. It gets fucking cold there too. I mean, if you are so desperate for a Western life, buy a fucking jacket. I don't know how far my personal like how am I made to genuinely care about this many people and people who are directly impacting the way I live my life. I don't get it. I don't get it. So he said, trillions are going to policing the world, so why not a few billion into the new deal, Mexico style? Exactly. There you go. Doesn't mean we can't ship them up there. Free winter coat included. Again, I would much rather pay my tax dollars go to paying for one jacket than to give this person a home in the city where other Americans live, who have papers, who have IDs, who, if they do something wrong, we know who they are, so they can be apprehended and all that bullshit.
Talked to the developer, and I mean, it was honestly, I thought I was being punked. It was like, do you remember when, what's his name, used to play this on Saturday Night Live, the 60 Minutes guy, and he'd be sweaty, and you remember?
Yeah.
It was like that, sitting with this guy. And I said to him, as we went for a tour, I said, have you ever seen It's a Wonderful Life? And he immediately said, I'm not Mr. Potter.
Oh, wow. He knows who he is.
Yep.
Wow.
And it
Can somebody explain that to me?
is Potterville. But you are looking at a place that the school, brand new, giant schools are already putting trailers out, and there's no tax base. Okay? These are poor people. And
which doesn't make them bad people, just so we're clear. You're not a bad person because you're poor. You're a bad person because you're poor, and you're asking me, who is also poor, to pay for your lifestyle. That is the issue. So said, yeah, this $7K a month and free housing and healthcare should be considered a direct act of war against our citizenry. Fuck yeah. I completely agree. And I mean, I'm not saying that I want to carpet bomb anything. I'm just saying it's fucking wrong. Are they? I don't know if I mean, I'm sure I've seen it over the years, but I don't remember it. That's what I was asking. What the I'm not Mr. Potter or whatever. I have no idea what that means. So if somebody can TLDR that for me.
Space. Okay? These are poor people. And we're just importing them. The crime is off the charts. And the developer was like, well, that's because the county. The county hasn't changed except for this. And the most disturbing thing is our Republican governor took $1.5 million from the developer's brother in campaign contributions.
Come on, man.
We called him. We wrote to him, snail mail even, just in case they...
Who, Governor Abbott?
Governor Abbott.
So even he is taking money to... let me hear this out.
We wrote to him, snail mail even, just in case they...
Who, Governor Abbott?
Governor Abbott. No response. I can usually get a call back from somebody. No response.
Wow.
And we tried for probably 5 weeks to get, I'll fly to you. I'll do it at any hour, any time, any place. I just have a few questions.
That's very interesting. Why would I would think that this would be, in terms of political careers, this is your moment, Greg Abbott. That's super sus. That is super sus. Am I wrong on that? Am I like completely off base? I would think that if you are Greg Abbott right now and Glenn Beck or anybody else calls you to talk about what's going on, this is your moment. But he's not answering questions, and he's taking money from who? What?
Any hour, any time, any place. I just have a few questions. When I asked the developer, I said, what do people, why would you?
I'm down.
Why would you spend $1.4 million to the governor? He's like, well, we really think he's great. And I said, so do I, but I haven't given him 1.4. What are you getting for that 1.4? And he said, you don't get things from politicians like that. And I just looked at him and went, okay, all right, okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
but he didn't tell you.
No, he didn't tell me.
What do you think he's getting? If he were to get anything, what would he get from a governor?
Okay, yeah. So whoa, this is new information. This is new information. Why is okay? So I want to back that up a little bit, because you said he was taking money from who?
In 5 million is except for this.
Yes. Okay. The county hasn't changed.
The most disturbing thing is our Republican governor took $1.5 million from the developer's brother in campaign contributions. We called him.
Okay. I mean, I don't I would have to hear more about that to see if it was something like bad. Like, I could definitely see, like, yeah, I'm the governor of Texas and ain't nobody helping. It's been like this for decades, according to Trey. So yeah, I need some money here to get this shit done. But I don't really know what his point is. He says, sounds like some are
wrote to him, snail mail even, just in case they.
Who, Governor Abbott?
Governor Abbott. No response.
Yeah. So the thing he said he should talk about it. My friend in Houston says Abbott is nearly a rhino on a lot of stuff, but I don't follow Texas politics enough to know for sure. Our Mississippi, Missouri. Which mess? I forget. But the Governor Tate Reeves is a rhino too, and that's what we were talking about before. That even if it's between these old short-sighted people and young greedy people, at least stupid Mississippi governor. But yeah, at least if we have the young greedy people, then we understand their motivations and we can string them along and be like, hey, we'll give you money for this. We'll make you famous for this. We'll give you TikTok followers for this. I mean, it's got something, because these old fogies they literally do not have a reason to care what happens in 10 years. They will be dead. They will be dead.
I can usually get a call back from somebody. No response.
Wow.
And we tried for probably 5 weeks to get, I'll fly to you. I'll do it at any hour, any time, any place. I just have a few questions. When I asked
right, but we can see it. That's the enemy I know. What is it? Is it the enemy or the devil I know? It's better than the one I know.
Developer. I said, what do people, why would you spend $1.4 million to the governor? He's like, well, we really think he's great. And I said, so do I, but I haven't given him 1.4.
Mm-hmm.
What are you getting for that 1.4? And he said, you don't get things from politicians like that. And I just looked at him and he went, okay, all right, okay.
Yeah. And you never find out. So that is yeah, exactly. We can see you, whatever. It really, it's frustrating because I don't necessarily like that Glenn Beck is framing this story in this way without the answers. Like I get it. I'm like, hey, that's sus. But it's not like money in politics equals corruption. End of story. That's just you're stretching a little. And I see there's something there. I would like those questions answered too. But especially when it is a culture war. It is a culture war right now. And if Abbott is fighting such a huge thing in a good way, then maybe until you have the answers, maybe that's something you keep a little bit closer to the chest. Just saying. Because I don't really feel like you actually, I don't feel like he actually pinned anything on Abbott. But he was trying to make him look bad by saying, oh, he's taking money. Well, yeah, they're politicians. That's what they do. Trey said, most of us don't really like Abbott, but the border issue is what's keeping him in office, which is, again, why it does make sense that people would be giving him money for what he's doing. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it's super shady because, they're, again, keeping their cards close to the chest. But I would like to know. What do we have here from Zippy the Strange? What are we looking at? Yeah, I agree. Need more context to really know, which is, again, why are you talking about it if you don't have that context? Okay, so since Abbott first declared he would run for governor in 2013, he's raised $83,000 per day to fund his pursuit of power. That's $20,000 more than the median Texas household earns in a year. How much more is it than the average state that has to deal with border shit? Throughout his political career, Abbott has amassed a mountain of campaign cash unrivaled in Texas. He is easily the most prolific fundraiser in state history, even compared with his two predecessors, George W. Bush, who went on to become president, and Rick Perry, who served as governor for a record-breaking 14 years. Since 1995, when Abbott made his first bid for statewide office, he's raised $348 million. Okay. What am I looking for here, Zippy? This is a long article to just be reading for the sake of reading. What's the bottom line here?
Like that, and I just looked at him and he went, okay, all right, okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
but he didn't tell you.
No, he didn't tell me.
So
but
what do you think he's getting? If he were to get anything, what would he get from a Governor Abbott?
He's getting, I think, call off the dogs. I don't think he's doing anything illegal, okay? But he's doing a
Then what the
lot
fuck
of
are we talking about?
moral stuff.
All right.
Really
Well, welcome to
bad.
politics.
He's really.
This is what I don't like. This is what I don't like when one side will act like, oh, these people, they're not really nice people. We're past that. We're in the post-Trump era, baby. I don't give a fuck if you're nice. There's a lot of not nice people who are trying to do things that will hurt me, and there's a lot of not nice people who are trying to do things that will help me. So being nice and moral is not really a privilege that we have when it comes to politicians.
Really, I think a really bad kind of businessman. But I don't think he's doing anything illegal. But how can the governor?
Would you not say the same about Trump? And arguably, you could say, that was illegal. What are we talking about?
Who has such a problem? Now, this is a red, deeply red county. It won't be for long. The migrant, if you want to call it that, the migrant population already dwarfs the people that used to live there. Okay. This is about flipping Texas.
Yeah.
Once people understand what he's doing, there are all kinds of shady businessmen all over the country.
I agree, which is why you should have those names and those deals before you bring this up, because we know that there's corruption. You can't just say, well, there's corruption around. Okay. Such as, well, he's just not a nice guy. You're not really saying anything. You're just saying things.
I mean, we have grown our population the size of one Arkansas in 4 years. Well,
so that's, again, Trey, that is where I question, you are saying that, like, oh, it's been this bad. Is that just, how you feel about it? Or is that, by the numbers that, the number of people coming across the border, let's say in the last 3 years is statistically similar to the years before? Because unless a lot of people are lying, which again would not surprise me, it does seem like the numbers are going up. Shout out to Petrie. Welcome to the party. So that actually surprised me. I've only seen 2 of your episodes, so I'm sure I don't agree with you on everything. But when Glenn's like, what the fuck? I can sit here and say Joe Biden's a criminal and just go by his own words. Just saying. I'm not sure what you mean. What's surprising you? So I'm sure I don't agree with you on everything. I don't think anybody agrees with me on everything. I can sit here and say Joe Biden's a criminal. We definitely agree on that. And just go by his own words. Sure. Okay. I'm not sure what that means. So said he's chasing ghosts with all of that fluff. Unfortunately, that's and again, it doesn't mean that there's not stuff there, but you have to. This is not journalism. This is not anything. This is a and again, I get that it's a podcast, but if you are at that level, then you want to have something behind what you're saying. I don't know. It just seems weak to me. So he said, how much of Trump's questionable stuff involves selling off the country? Yeah. There's a huge difference in playing the game to get governor to spend money at your hotels and selling someone else's pound of flesh. Agreed. Petrie said he did nothing illegal. And I'm like, what? Yeah. Okay. But yeah. So exactly. This is the we talk about this all the time, that, when we look at politicians, we can't pretend that we're looking at them in the same way that we're looking at how do we judge a friend? How do we judge a YouTuber? How do we judge, it's a different thing. There are many politicians that I would be okay casting a vote for, that I would never allow into my home. For various reasons. Whether it's because I think they're going to try to fuck me, or because I think they're going to steal my shit just because they can. I don't know. This is politics. But right there with you. Shout out to Dietrich. Welcome to the party. I don't agree with you on everything, but I love you. I love you too, brother. So glad to see you. Welcome to the party. Indeed. Welcome, Petrie, as well. Always good to see new faces.
Arkansas in 4 years. Well, That's not Arkansas, Alabama. One Alabama. You can't keep this.
I feel like even is the population that much difference between Arkansas and Alabama that you should undercut your point? I kind of feel like if you just went with Arkansas, that would have landed a little bit harder. But now I'm just nitpicking.
Up without completely changing the financial alone, the financial situation of the country.
And
but if you say that, then you're a racist. How dare you?
How
Texas would be the first round draft pick for the Democrats to flip.
Oh, they would love Texas before Florida, by the way.
Oh, you flip Texas and you're done.
Over.
Well,
You'll never see a Republican again.
Well, that's the entire point of a completely open border with no answers, no accountability for Mayorkas, nobody. Everybody's using the whole humanitarian thing. That's
honey, sweetie, baby. You already tried that shit when we were just the colonies, and you still lost. Ha! Loser!
That is so brilliant because that's exactly what the point is. And now you're seeing it because they're building cities. And like you said, that's going to flip. Why else would they have the border completely open? Why? That's
because they're so nice and we just want to make sure that people can come and have the American dream and get all that they want. And you just have to pay the taxes and they're going to, but we just love everybody. And everybody is so nice. We're just so nice. Aren't Americans so nice? The fuck out of my face with that bullshit.
You know, there's a couple of things that have been in play for a very long time that people don't understand. One is the Cloward and Piven collapse theory. You overwhelm the system. You use the system and pit it against itself. You overwhelm it and you collapse the economy. You collapse the government.
Definitely sounds like what's going on now.
Because of debt.
Shout out to Michael Mac. I'm sorry, I'm terrible with last names, but shout out to Michael over on Instagram. Said that ACB betrayed us today. ACB. Who's ACB? ACB. I feel stupid. Somebody help me. ACB. I don't know. Let me know. But welcome to the party, Michael. Good to see you. Shout out to Instagram. And if you are over on Rumble or Kick, say hello. Say hello.
That's in play. The other thing is
Amy Jesus Christ. Amy Coney Barrett. What did she do? Please educate me. What did Amy Coney Barrett? What did she do to us? How dare she? We were so nice to her and we just put her in there. No, I really don't know. What please educate me. Zippy said, I mean, Trump is a mess and not pure, but Clinton and Biden seem happy in selling off the nation. I mean, Trump not being in office long. Okay. Trey said, I don't know the exact numbers, but it's something that is so noticeable. I would say it got bad in 2014. And who was the president in 2014? Okay, fair enough.
Of debt. That's in play. The other thing is, again, all of it is about chaos and collapse. You know, the Red Cross, Doctors Without Borders, they are handing out maps. We have them handing out maps to people in Middle America and South America
to get to Chicago and New York.
They're handing them out with the train schedules, the stops where you'll be welcome, the maps, how to go, where to go to cross into the United States.
Let me just ask you, put a 1 in the chat if the government has ever done anything like that for you. So Michael is saying that ACB, let me copy this over here. Sorry, they're hopefully they will bring the chat for Instagram into StreamYard soon. But Michael is saying she sided with the Biden administration to allow the feds to take down Texas barbed wire to protect the border. ACB, what you doing? Why? Yeah, she's it's the last one, right? That was she before or after Kavanaugh? Either way, Trump. Come on, man. And I have a feeling that a lot of the decisions coming from specifically Amy and as well as Kavanaugh they feel like they have something to prove that, well, Trump put us in office, but we're not just going to go with everything Trump says. But they're kind of overcompensating. It should be very simple. It should be very simple. Okay, she was after Kavanaugh. Yeah. So I mean, come on. You're fresh. You're fresh in there. You're fresh in there. You should be siding with all of us. At least for the next few years. Let the man who put you in office either lose the next election or go through his term before you start spitting in his goddamn face. How dare you?
How dare you?
Petrie said, I'd like to know how liberals called us Nazis for the last 10 years. And now a quarter of them are out there screaming from the river to the sea because they have no principles. It's just what I think is right. That's it. That's it. Petrie said, goes on to say, I also want to know why I was called racist for the last 10 years. And yet we have Joe Biden in office who fought for busing, saying he didn't want his kids growing up in a racial jungle. Yep. And he also, I mean, the list goes on. This man is a racist through and through. But because he said the nice things when he was on the TV and the news people who are in his pocket told everybody else that he was a nice guy, and that Trump was so mean. Oh, no, he's so mean and racist. Because they have no principles, they're just like, oh, okay, we're for this now? Okay, but that's how they think, or rather, don't think. Dietrich says, Texas has given the feds maps to distribute illegals, giving them explicit directions to catch these hands. Cloud guy, bless Texas. There you go. There you go.
The maps, how to go, where to go to cross into the United States, the Red Cross, the United Nations, and Doctors Without Borders. Those are three that we can verify because we have the documentation.
But yeah, I'm crazy, right? For not just assuming that anybody in power says a thing and I should just trust it. I'm crazy, right? I'm a conspiracy theorist because I think, well, maybe some of these either old people with who are short-sighted or these young people who are just greedy. They're great. Shout out to Cody Stanford. Welcome to the party. My link tree is in the description, but if you look at Indian Jesus Off, you'll find me on Twitter and Instagram. Glad to see you. Welcome to the party. Always good to see new faces. And we got Opus. Welcome to the party. Good to see you guys. Welcome. And again, yeah, it's Indian Jesus Off, like official. Am I different on? No, yeah, that should be everything. And it's Linktree. You know how they do link LINK dot or LINKTR.ee. I don't know why they do it, but Linktree / Indian Jesus, you will find everything you need. It is in the link in the description. Petrie said, have you ever heard of the conspiracy theory of Trump and Nikolai Tesla? I don't know who Nicholas Tesla is, but if you're talking about Nikolai Teslas, then no, I haven't heard of that either. That I haven't looked much into it, but they're related somehow or something. That's worth a Google. So I'm going to assume you meant Nikolai. So Donald Trump. Let's just do his name. Nikolai Tesla. What did Donald Trump's uncle invent? Donald Trump was known for nope. Where did Donald Trump's wealth come from? I'm not seeing anything. Okay, how a president is connected. Let's see what we got. Shout out to, who is this? Yahoo Finance.
With the first presidential debate just a day away, we thought it was time to play a little political trivia. So how is President Trump connected to electric car makers Tesla and Nikola? Let's bring in Yahoo Finance's editor.
I guess we got the answer already.
Who has the answer to that? Hey, Andy, good morning. I saw your story on our website about this over the weekend. So connect the dots for our audience. What do all three have in common?
Well, first of all, let's start off, Alexis, specifically with Tesla and Donald Trump. And go back to the 1940s. The inventor Nikola Tesla died in 1943. The FBI was called in to vet his inventions to make sure there was nothing dangerous there that could fall into enemy hands. And they called an MIT electrical engineering professor, a very esteemed one named John Trump. Now, it turns out that John Trump is, in fact, the uncle of the President of the United States. So,
wow, look, it's all connected. It's connected. Good call. Good call. That's really cool. I mean, I have a lot of respect for Nikola Tesla. I have a lot of respect for Tesla as a company. I have a lot of respect for that whole stuff. So that's pretty cool. Good. A shout out to Petrie for calling that out. Trey says, well, I think Abbott sending them to different states is the reason this is so much bigger now, because the southern border has been dealing with this for decades. Bingo. Exactly. It's almost as if these northern states who were calling themselves sanctuary states were just doing so to seem like they were signaling some virtue. It's almost like they were word like virtue signaling. We should call it virtue signaling. It's almost like they were virtue signaling and they didn't actually want to be a sanctuary state. Crazy. So that's why it's like, shout out to Abbott for you know, I think the first real one that got people like up in arms was when they sent like literally 50 people to Martha's Vineyard, where nobody lives full time, and they're like, oh my God, we can't handle it. Oh no. But yeah, that worked a little too well, didn't it? So he said, since seems the razor wire was used to deal with federal agents and not illegals. Yep. Oh, gotcha. All right, fair enough. Opus said, Amy Coney Barrett, Trump should have appointed a man. Changed my mind. Fair enough. I don't know if I can argue that, but interesting perspective either way. Shout out to Joe Mama. Welcome to the party. Yeah, me neither. It's not anything from Glenn Beck in such a long time. Good man. Michael says Michael on Instagram says the Chicago mayor was hospitalized for anxiety attacks because of all that sanctuary.
Loser. Beta.
Come on, bro. Try doing this since 2014, like Trey said, and then maybe you get your panic attack. Nah, this is just the beginning, bro. You asked for it, and now it's a coming. Virgil said, as a gay man, I wouldn't throw Obama out of bed.
What?
All right, fair enough. Zippy said, Tesla is a hell of a scam. At least SpaceX is worthwhile. Well, I mean, you know, if you live somewhere warm, it's fine. But if it goes, I think it's like, what, below like 33 degrees, and the battery just doesn't work. The Democrats maintaining the facade of being the party of compassion. For now. But people are not buying it. Zippy said, anxiety attacks. Is that why she lost all her hair? Oh my God. Savage.
Doctors Without Borders. Those are 3 that we can verify because we have the documentation. We have what they're handing out.
We have the meat.
This is an organized plot to collapse the United States. When we go into real trouble, I mean, look at what came out today with Denver. They can't afford the hospitals. When we go into real trouble and we hit real economic hard times, and you've got rationing and everything else, and you have 10 million people that are already a disaster.
So they're showing the Denver hospital raises alarms about $136 million deficit. It's scrambling to pay as what? The migrant crisis worsens. And so again, now with what Trey's been saying, when we look at a headline like this, the migrant crisis isn't necessarily that there's more migrants coming across the border, although I do believe that is the case. But it's that they're going other places now. It's not just a Texas problem. It's not just an El Paso problem anymore. It's an American problem. And so now maybe we can have a real conversation about people who do not belong in this country. It is a spit in the face to people like my parents who came here the right way, waited, paid, did all the shit so that I could have the American life. They did all of that for me. And now y'all are just fucking scrolling in. Just strolling in like it's nothing. The Tesla wattage is bad. Yeah, really? The car's heavy. Oh, geez, yeah. I would wait. I mean, I would definitely want a Tesla, but not as the only car that I have. That's just like a short trip kind of deal. Petrie says, shouldn't sanctuary cities have a backstock like this? I mean, how many caravans did we hear about under Trump? They knew this was possible. Why didn't they prepare? They didn't prepare because they didn't think that they would ever have to foot the bill. They didn't care about whether they would have to foot the bill. They knew that they would get votes, they would get support by saying that they would fit the bill. That whether we have to actually foot the bill eventually or not, that's tomorrow's problem. Right now, we're a blue city. Hey, hey, hey. We're going to have pride on Main Street, baby. Hey, hey, hey. Black people are going to get more jobs and white people can be shit on all the time. Hey, hey, hey. That's what they wanted. That's what they had for so long. That's what they had for so long. No, MN69, please let me know what the hell that was about. Obis said I would never buy an EV living in upstate New York. Yeah, good choice. I know exactly what sub-zero temps do to batteries. Yeah, I mean, the thing about they do to just normal gas cars, and your only option is the battery. Hell no.
Oh, hell no.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Peachy said, Joe Biden's going to bed every night going, damn it, why can't I just... I wonder if we think Obama's running Biden. Who's running Obama? There's a bunch of people in the deep state. I don't know. I mean, that's the $1 million question. If we could actually know who are the people, you know, we they're even like the Klaus Schwabs and George Soros. These are people who have whose names are out there. It's the Epsteins of the world. It's the Ghislaine Maxwells of the world that we really need to worry about. But we don't know that they even exist until it's way too late. It's just way too late. Oh, thanks for clearing that up. What are we doing here?
10 million people that are already a disaster. Do you think things are going to get better or worse? And
they're going to get better, of course.
How long does it take before people say, you know what? This was my land in the first place. And I don't mean Americans. I mean, everybody's been groomed to say America stole this land.
That's a good point. And so is Opus saying Trump is the last 70-plus-year-old I will ever vote for. I'm done with leaders who will never live with the consequences of their actions. And I mean, I tried to stay away from absolutes, but I'm with you. And I mean, it would have to be somebody so outside the norm. It would have to be somebody so outside the norm for me to ever consider it, because we've seen that what happens when, because here's the thing, it's not necessarily the fact that they're old. Like, yes, Biden being old is a very specific issue. The Mitch McConnell thing was, you know, freaky, but for the most part, they're not really, they don't really need to do anything. So that's not it's the aspect that number one, we have the president who's front facing. And then, yeah, exactly. So the other thing, too, is the fact that they spend their whole life in the political grind. And so they don't see the world from any other perspective except I'm a politician. I have to win. I have to say whatever I have to say. And this is precisely why we can't treat them as normal people, because they're not real people. Yeah, anything short of Ron Paul and that kind of sensibility, it's a nah from me. Hard pass.
How long? I mean, everybody's been groomed to say America stole this land. How long before Californians start to hear, you know what? This is Mexican land. This is foreign land. You stole it from us.
I mean, that's the only logical conclusion. A bunch of people where you already have the narrative that America is stolen land. California was part of Mexico. Then you bring a bunch of Mexican people into what was American land, and you tell them that we stole this land from you. What the fuck do you think is going to happen? And you're goddamn right, we stole it. It's called imperialism. It's how the world works. Sorry, you lost, but we won. Let's go, colonizers. There we go. Dilly dilly to that. Petrie said, I just want to add, as humans, we're so ignorant to the way the world and the universe actually works. I personally think they're all possessed to some extent. Honestly, I think that's giving them too much credit. That's giving them too much credit. That no, there's no way that a person could act like this while they have their faculties. I don't know. I've seen some evil people do some evil stuff. And I just think, unfortunately, all people are capable of this type of fuckery. Michael said, I have an answer to the stolen land crap. It's a done deal. I will drink to that one as well. It's a done deal. It is what it is. We won. Go away. It was your land, but it ain't anymore. Let's go. How about you guys? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's a Jordan Peterson thing to, never forget that each one of us can be just as monstrous as any other human being that we've seen. We all have that capability. Whether or not you will ever get there is a different question. But you have it in you to be as horrible of a person as Joe Biden is. That's humanity. You are, I would assume, a better person than that, but that doesn't mean you can't get there. They can take it. They can take it. I was also done calling myself conservative or right wing. I'm a staunch, proud nationalist populist. There you go. There you go. I'm an American. God damn it. I don't fucking play these games. I'm America first. Whatever is for America first. That's it. It's very simple. So wars happened. We paid $15 million in 1848. So it's ours now. So are these foreign wars any better than Britain at the peak of colonialism? I, for one, think it's worse. That argument definitely could be made. But are we then we're hanging on the word worse? Like, well, is it bad in the first place? But I think I get what you're coming from. I think there's a lot more going on now than there ever was back then. There's just more people now.
This is Mexican land. This is foreign land. You stole it from us. You introduce real poverty and despair. We're sitting on a powder keg. A powder keg. We got to humble ourselves and return to solid principles.
I can see the argument, but I disagree. Populist equals mob. I think that it's the other way around. It's the fact that there is a sentiment that's held by the populace, and then you speak to that populace. There's something that mob rule is more when we talk about somebody driving I understand what you're saying, but there's a big difference between what we see on our democracy and the fact that we all over here, whether we like Trump or don't really like him but think he's better, we all kind of just inherently want the same thing. It's not some well, are you sure about that? You're sure about that?
That's powerful. And right now you saw last week that the debate going back and forth online, how, we have more potential migrants, illegal immigrants coming here in one term than the previous 3 terms combined.
What? So that's Trey. That's the kind of shit I'm talking about. When people are bringing out numbers like that. More in one term than the previous 3 terms. I'm not arguing that it wasn't bad in Texas over the last 10 years. That's not at all what I'm saying. I'm saying, according to everybody else, it's gotten a lot worse in the past 3 years.
They're projecting 12.99 million illegal immigrants coming through here.
Did you see what the World Economic Forum said? Canada. Now imagine being a Canadian. Canada has the most open space, the most resources for farming and to take people, and water.
There we go. Not only do they have space, they have resources and water. So we said, Open said, populism just means being proud of your tribe and wanting what's best for you and your country and tribe. Yeah, and again, even when we say mob rule, yes, if everybody in a mob wants peace and everybody to follow the non-aggression principle, then okay, I guess if somebody's like, yes, I will give you that because I think that is the best way for us to go forward. Is that mob rule? Mob rule tends to like majority rules is one thing, but when you say mob rule, that implies that somebody is driving a narrative that is antithetical to the truth, and I don't think that I don't think Biden is a populist at all. People don't like Biden. People dislike Trump more, but people didn't vote for Biden. People voted against Trump. Okay, so what's your point then? What I don't understand what your point is. Are you trying to say that anybody who is elected is now a populist? That's not, and so it's a populace, LACE. A populist would be one person. So I don't know what one person elected Clinton, Obama, and Bush, but no, that didn't happen. The populace did vote in those people, but that's not what we're talking about. So, I mean, maybe I don't understand the word completely, and technically you are correct, but any way that I've heard anybody talk about populism or a populist or the populace, it's never been just, well, people said it, so, they won an election, so they're a populist. That's not what that words mean. That's not what those words mean. So I said, well, I think the reason this land is stolen doesn't work with Mexico because we won the land in a war. Oh, but we didn't win it in a war against native tribes. I think we did. I think we did. And I think this comes back to the idea of what is a war. A war isn't necessarily just guys standing on this side and guys standing on this side and pointing guns at each other and until they're all dead. Like, war is we're coming in and we're taking your shit. And hey, maybe we'll throw you some money so that you can rebuild somewhere else, but we're taking your shit. That's how the world works. Facts. They're globalists. Yes. Zippy said, nationalism means what you want for the best for your tribe or nation. Populism follows popular trends. Popular trends are bad. Even if Opus is saying no, but even if we're to take the idea, do you think that Christianity is a pretty popular trend right now? Is that bad? I think, freedom, I think liberty, I think those are pretty popular trends right now. Are those bad? Michael said, let me bring this up here so I can read it properly. Michael over on Instagram said a populist supports the rights of the people. Biden is an establishment globalist.
Bingo.
Yeah, I mean, just words have meanings, guys. Words have meanings. And just because like, oh, it's popular and it comes from the word popular. Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. And exactly, M69. That's what I was trying to say. That mob rule kind of implies a mindless group that's easily manipulated. And that's not what we're talking about when we have a bunch of people who independently, whether it's through Christianity or moral philosophy or anything else, say that this is how we want society to run. And then somebody comes in and say, okay, I'll do that for you. Even if you want to call that like whatever you want to call that, that's not bad. You're trying to frame it as a bad thing when it's just not. Liberty should be the standard, but okay, fair enough. All right, let's finish this clip up. Move on to the next one.
Resources for farming and to take people and water. And they're suggesting that in the next few years, the next decade, that they should take on 35 million immigrants to cross their border. By the way, the population of Canada is 35 million.
Exactly.
And you know what? By the way, you know what? Let's send a bunch of buses over to
We
Canada.
should. I mean, hey, help us out.
Yeah,
I'm saying.
I'm
saying. All right. So moving on to China. Let's talk about China. Yeah, we got you, brother. We got you. Don't worry. All right, on China.
Hu Zhijin, former editor of Chinese state-run Global Times, has raised concerns about the potential for war if Taiwan seeks independence under President William Lai Ching-te, who asserted Taiwan independence means war and the red line drawn by the Chinese.
All right, so let's see. The Zippy's got this definition: a person, especially a politician, who strives to appeal to ordinary people who feel that their concerns are disregarded by establishment elite groups. He ran as a populist on anti-corruption platform. So what's the trend that is popular that's bad that's being followed here? Because according to you, populism follows popular trends, and popular trends are bad. So according to this definition, what is the trend that is bad that is being followed? I said no nation can survive this level of immigration, especially where there's no pressure for them to assimilate.
Bingo.
The opposite. We are telling them our ways are, the opposite. We're telling them our ways are wrong, and we should respect everyone else's ideals.
Bingo. Stupid.
It's so cliche at this point, but a country with no borders is not a country.
Chinese mainland is clear. He also questioned Li's leadership, stating that Li might not be more radical than his predecessor. Hugh pointed out the significance of the United States in Taiwan issue, noting that President Joe Biden publicly stated the U.S. does not support Taiwan independence, but aims to contain China through this matter. He speculated that if former President Donald Trump were to be reelected, it could introduce new uncertainties in the Taiwan Straits due to his presumed stronger stance against China. Glenn.
China.
A couple of things. First of all, China will take Taiwan, and they'll take it when the United States is too busy concentrating on something else.
Okay, well, that's a pretty bold assertion. Okay, Taiwan is gone.
We don't have the ability. Luckily, they don't have the ships to land the forces right yet. They will in a couple of years, but they could just, I mean, they could take it if we're not paying attention. We don't.
And it's almost like, we would have a hard time paying attention to something going on in Taiwan if we're busy fighting with bullshit in Ukraine and Israel and Yemen and Libya, and maybe we should focus a little bit more at home.
Have the ability to fight in China, fight China at this point. We just don't have the assets. We don't have the supply chain stretched that far. The one thing that you have to pay attention to on Taiwan is the chips that they make. These are the highest end chips.
I mean, I like some Lay's, but if those Taiwanese chips are good, then we might have to invade.
These are the ones for the supercomputers. They have the ability in Taiwan to make chips that nobody else makes.
Obviously, they're talking about computer chips, and that was a joke. Said, if you listen to the people who were being censored at the beginning of COVID, some really smart people told us shutting down the world economy would accelerate migration trends already heading this way. Surprise, surprise. And let's not forget, as much as all this shit is going on, let's not forget who was president when the world was shut down. Like I said, he's got my vote as long as he's on the ballot, but I never will ever forgive how we were treated in those months. So China has problems, but it would be at our peril to underestimate them. Agreed.
If China gets those chip factories, we lose. The whole world loses to China. And everybody knows that, especially China. I've talked to people who, have experience at the NSA and Department of Defense, who have been in conversations about China. And it blew my mind.
That was so weird. I thought he was, that was so weird. He said China and then China, and then I thought he was laughing at me. That bugged me the fuck out. Sorry. Okay.
About China. And,
China.
It blew my mind when they said this. Their best hope is that if China starts to invade or take Taiwan, that we will blow up all of the chip plants.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Well, there you go. So I was saying 99% of wars are won by the larger population, and China wins that contest by far. Luckily, maybe we are not really in the age of fighting hot wars anymore. at least for our people. And hopefully, like a lot of the fifth level warfare will keep, casualties low. But that's just fingers crossed. I don't know, man.
He will blow up all of the chip plants.
Oh, wow.
Okay. That's like seriously discussed. Maybe we should just blow all the chip plants up so they can't have it either.
How much
based
is that as a threat and just kind of like talking shit, just saying, I'm gonna kick your ass. You think it's like kind of like that? Because
have you read that? Have you heard that anywhere?
No, I mean I read that. I remember when that story came out. But you know what would happen if they did that? The supply of the semiconductor chips that we need, that the world relies on with, Taiwan, price of used cars would go to the roof.
Okay, so they have a chart here of semiconductor contract manufacturers by market share. So this is China, but all of this is like what, good 65% coming from Taiwan. Oof. That is no bueno. That is nothing to play around with. Oba said, only one other country is acting like we are at war, and it's China. We are busy exporting McDonald's and Marvel to China. Good point, sir. Good point. I'm getting sad. This is sad. Well, they export to, yep.
Is on with, Taiwan, price of used cars would go to the roof. Price of new cars, everything would go to the roof, because
everything.
God knows how many. Each car that you buy has anywhere between 1,500 to 3,000 chips. A lot of those chips, depending on the quality. So I don't know if they're talking smack or if they're being real about it.
Do you not think that there are? I mean, I think these are early 20th century progressives. Many of them. They are anti-human.
Yeah.
They are
Facts.
anti-modernity.
Yup. Yeah. And once again, if the U.S. is banking on changing the culture in China, think again. And I don't think we need to go down that road. I just think we need to make sure that they're not doing it to us. I would, as much time as I spent on TikTok, as good as that fucking algorithm is, I've seen some stuff that I never knew that I wanted to see on TikTok. It's great. I would be happy for it to get banned, just nuked out of existence. I would be perfectly fine with that.
I don't think that there's a problem with there's some really scary people that would really mean, okay, so yeah, all right, so millions would die. But
it's not Alex Jones. We did that last week. That would be, they're part of the frogs gay. And Film said, I mean, I'll keep TikTok if we can get rid of Brie Larson and send her to China. As fun as that would be, I don't know how helpful that would be in changing the culture. I mean, I'm with you, but I don't know. I don't think that's a good trade. Petrie said, starting to believe it more and more every day. Yeah. Oh yeah. That they're reptilians, that they're hybrids. There's something going on. I'm not willing to say it's this, but there's something like this. And to think that it's just completely crazy to think so is exactly what they want you to think. And I was always skeptical. I was always a skeptical person. But it really wasn't until COVID times that I was like, okay, I'm going to assume that if you hold office, then you are lying to me for some reason. Because it's just easier to navigate and understand the world. Like, oh, that makes sense. If you're lying. I don't know why this guy would lie, but he probably has a reason. That's a good enough way to go through life for me. I'm69 says, bad enough. I spend as much time on YouTube. I stay away from TikTok. Yeah, I mean, talk about a time suck. Talk about a time suck. Oba said, you guys got to watch the Y Files. What is that? Petrie said, that's what I meant earlier when I said we're so ignorant to the way the universe really works. Yep. They're very socialized.
People that would really mean, okay, so yeah, all right, so millions would die, but this goal would be accomplished. But yes, we'll starve people on this, but we won't be eating meat and it'll be good for the planet. I think these people are so anti-human that those kinds of things, the reason why we lasted the Cold War is because of the movie The Day After.
Okay, well, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different chats to pay attention to, so you can deal with it.
Ronald Reagan watched it. ABC gave him a videotape of it. He watched it in the Oval Office. Gorbachev watched it, and they both changed. In Reagan's diary, he said, "Dear Lord, we cannot let this happen." So you had
retard or reptile?
2 reasonable people who said, no matter what, too many people will die. We cannot do that.
Put a 1 in the chat if you have seen this movie, The Day After. Or, he said movie, right? Looks like a book. Oh, yeah. Television official first November 1983. The film postulates a fictional war between NATO and the Warsaw Pact over Germany that rapidly escalates into a full-scale nuclear exchange between the U.S. and the Soviet Union. The action itself focuses on the residents of Lawrence, Kansas, Kansas City, Missouri, and several other American missile silos. Interesting. So, yeah, if there's something you could fill in here, I have not seen this movie, so that would help me out.
No matter what, too many people will die. We cannot do that. We're coming to a place.
So can I bring this to the chat? Can I bring this on stream?
To where some of the people who have power, they don't think that way. What we think is unthinkable, they do, because it would be good for the planet. It would be good. We are expendable. We're sheep.
Do you think China is China first? How do you think Xi looks at World Economic Forum? As
Good question. All right, so real quick, we're gonna take a detour here, and can I zoom this in? I cannot zoom this in, but it says Miss Dye 6th grade ELA bathroom passes. Keep these in your binder. This is to students. Keep these in your binder in order to leave my class and use the restroom. You have 5 for the entire 9 weeks. Use them wisely. I will initial a square every time you leave my room. If you turn in all 5 squares blank at the end of 9 weeks, you will receive 10 bonus points on your 9 weeks exam. So, and then it breaks it down. If you did 1 pass, you get 2 points. 2 passes, 3 points, so on and so forth. So they're essentially paying the children to not go to the bathroom. And the question we have on the board, Swell the Soul says, am I the only one who thinks this type of shit is akin to abuse? Thoughts? This was not a thing in my school when I was a kid. I'm fucking pissed right now. So I will, sorry. So I will definitely say, I think that I understand the notion of not wanting the kids to go, to be just, going all the bathroom all over the place. You know what I mean? The issue I have is with making the child choose, okay, well, I have a bodily function, but maybe I don't test well and I need those 10 points. So I'm going to, hold it. And that's just a little icky in my eyes. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Over here. Yeah, all that kind of stuff. That's the kind of stuff that, having immigrant parents who came here the right way, I just missed out on a lot of that late 70s, early 80s American pop culture, I mean, sometimes you gotta go. You gotta go. And when you're, how old are we talking about? I don't think it's abuse, but it's definitely okay, going back. Any Film said it was a cheesy made-for-TV movie meant to scare me and all my friends. It was must-see viewing. All right, so I guess we'll have to do a movie night with I don't even remember the name of the movie, but with that, I guess the problem is, because depending on the layout of the school, then you might have to, I know I've had classes after lunch where I didn't have to, I had lunch and then I had a class over here and then a class right over here. So yes, theoretically I could go between classes, but then I'm going to be late to class. And so it's do I go late to class or do I take points off of my final exam? Yeah, that's not a good move. Let's get honest. I can see your point, but do we want to have kids getting points for holding it? Yeah, that's what I was saying. No, of the movie, haven't seen it. All right, yeah, there you go. So join up in the Discord, become a member, and we will do a movie night where we can all check it out. So I have a hard time using bodily functions as extra credit for testing and being okay with. Yeah. I was doing homework. With my son while listening and found it in his bag, and I just got livid about it. I definitely would not be happy with that either. That's, yeah. And Trey's saying, I don't know, but that's definitely overdone. I don't know if it's abuse, but it's definitely. Is that what we said? 6th grade? Yeah, I don't know. In my school, 6th grade was where middle school was 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. So you were going between, but Zibby says, sounds like rules made by leftists. Teach them self-control in the worst kind of way. I think we have a comment of the night. Dilly. So I read that as an extra 10 points for not. Yeah, it is an extra 10 points. So if you don't go to the bathroom the entire time. So yeah, okay. So he has 6 classes, and she says my son has special needs. How many 6th grade girls are just starting their periods? Didn't even think of that shit. It's just it's I don't like it. Sounds like you're privileged talking indie film. All right, let's dive back in here. China, we're talking.
It would be good.
Yeah.
We are expendable. We're sheep.
Do you think China is China first? How do you think Xi looks at World Economic Forum? As a useful idiot?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So China
So where interesting. Well,
looks at World Economic. We're going to use these guys. We're going to buy them out and give them some favors, and they're going to do whatever we want them to do. That's how they view them. Okay. Do you think China, Xi?
There you go, Opus. That is how you teach kids. That is how you do it. Just off the top of the dome, like, oh, here's an idea. Instead of, I'm going to punish you. I saw a TikTok again that was talking about how specifically Gen X parents, but just in general, we're really good at teaching us how to be good kids, but not really good adults. And it seems like there is a lot hanging over there. Hey, shout out to Iridium Kush. Welcome to the party. Good to see you, brother. Welcome. Always good to see you. Petrie said graduated in 08. 08, don't hate. Let's go. When I got to high school the first year, there were still people with shotguns in the back. In the back windows of their trucks. Never seen it again after that. Those were the days. Indeed, they were. We also got Mood in the building. Welcome to the party, sir. Always good to see ya. Sometimes people get up and just can't see a simple solution. Yep, this is, yeah, well said. He said, do you think it would be better for teenagers just to keep them from socializing in the bathroom and stuff? Yes, I do think it would be more appropriate, but I still don't like the idea of tying the bodily function to points in class. Like I could, even if it was just like you can only use the bathroom 5 times throughout the semester. All right, I get that. But now you're getting points. It's just, and then when you think about the girls, no way. Shout out to Florida, Jersey up in the house. All right, I'm back in.
That's how they view them. Okay. Do you think China, Xi, is excited about a Trump candidacy, or he would much rather prefer it be a Newsom or a Michelle?
He can't be happy about Trump. He would. I would assume that Xi would rather have anybody than Trump, right?
Or somebody on the left, or a Biden.
Anybody. Biden, Nikki, Obama, they're all the same to a Xi Jinping, no?
Well, definitely a Biden because he's bought and paid for. So, yeah, Biden would be his choice.
Why do you think China, if under Biden, let's just say, Putin took advantage of it, went after Ukraine, and, NATO is saying we may have a war for 20 years or whatever they're talking about here. or hey,
Kids are getting
you know,
soft.
Hamas attacks Israel. All right, so that took place, and then there's that war going on, which has been so divisive worldwide. Afghanistan, we leave. You know, God knows how much weapons we left behind.
And the Air Force base that China now has.
Yes, and
Bagram.
why do you think
in Bagram? Is that what he said?
That China now has.
Yes, and
Bagram.
Why do you think if China is so bad and
like isn't that Iraq or Afghanistan or something? Is that what he's saying, or am I mishearing what he's saying? We actually, yeah, better times.
Evil, which I believe they are.
Yeah.
Why do you think they haven't yet attacked and done anything to Taiwan? What are they waiting for?
They're playing the long game. They don't have the ships to do it. I don't
know, because then that would be the exact problem they're already dealing with. If you had an extra 20 to 30% of extra time over anybody else, would you not take it every opportunity?
I don't think that China wants to have a war. China would rather just take it. And they're such long-term thinkers that, okay, wait 5 years. The United States is falling apart. They're not going to be able to do it. We'll have everything we need to be able to do it.
Unless Trump gets in office. That's really what all of this comes down to for me. Like, it doesn't really, when we look at, shout out to a giggling spy over on Rumble, said holding in urine. Let me pull that over here. They'll get the chats one day. Said holding in urine promotes urinary tract infections. Another reason why it's just not feasible to say, number one, don't do this, and two, I'm going to give you points to not have to not have your body work the way it is. And yeah, and then Mood saying kidney stones as well. And then as was it MS69 brought up girls on their period, like, you really want to be tracking that shit to see if they're lying? Or maybe you should be like, all right, go deal with your shit. And then when it's like the same girl every well, I got my period again. I'm like, okay, now we can talk to but just you know, just out the gate like that, I don't like it. I don't like it. I was gonna open it again, but we got it. Obis said Taiwan would roll over for China and America will let it happen. Bet me. I really don't know. And then, yeah, that's the other side of of school, right? It's like, instead of punishing children for not wanting to be in your class, maybe do something to make them want to be in your class. But what do you guys think about this? Taiwan will roll over for China and America will let it happen. What makes you say this? What makes you think that's going to happen? Any of them said Bagram Air Force Base is the one that we abandoned in Afghanistan. Yep, that's what I thought. So now they have their own base in Afghanistan. Well, I mean, oh, God damn it. Opus said 0 first world nations have any appetite for real war. True, for real war. But that doesn't mean that they wouldn't be looking to take over or whatever they could take over. Like he said, they're not going to try to fight a war. They just want to take it if they can. So going back to the bathroom thing, any film said they're not being punished for going to the bathroom. They're giving bonus points for not going. Semantics. I mean, maybe. Is that something you'd be willing to put money on? I don't know. That seems like something I don't want to find out. I just don't want to find out.
Falling apart. They're not going to be able to do it. We'll have everything we need to be able to do it. Maybe in 5 years. I mean, look at Hong Kong.
Yeah.
Look at Hong Kong. They didn't do anything until we were distracted.
Gotcha.
And then all those people went away.
So I was saying they don't want to go to war because that was the answer to why okay, but so in that, so you're saying that because of the fact that America doesn't want to go to war, that America is just going to let Taiwan just go? America can't win a naval war in China's backyard. Well, is that the only way to deal with it? I mean, I'm certainly not a fucking military expert. That's the only way to address it, is to get a naval war in China's backyard. We don't have nuclear weapons. I'm just saying.
Until we were distracted, and then all those people went away.
Yeah, nobody even talks about Hong Kong at this point.
Right. And if they would have acted when everybody were like, well, they're backing down, they would have had the whole world in their face. They win.
Different.
Oh, well.
Shout out to Zippy the Strange with another gifted membership. Oh my God. Oh my God. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And of course, every donation comes with a treat for Morty. We on that salmon recipe he loves so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm with Mood. Mood said the U.S. can win any war. Maybe that's just my American chauvinism, but I'm there. But you said it was the only way. You said it was the only way, and it's not the only way. I'm just saying. Let's see where we were. Thank you again, Zippy. That's strange.
They would have had the whole world in their face. They win.
Different thoughts. Do you have a different view than what Glenn said?
Not really, except one thing that I'll add to it, and he didn't bring up the word, but I think he's probably going to perk up when I say it, is sometimes they look really, really crazy, and then they understand some of these outcomes, but you have to remember there is a huge plank in their platform, is WF and the global thinkers, about depopulation being good. So, right? So if there is calamity and everything that takes out 2 billion people over a span of 6 years, that's okay, because it's actually healing to the earth, because we're stressing the earth. We don't need this many people and all like that. Now, military strategy would say that the best day to go after Taiwan is August 21st of this year, if that's the last day of the Democratic convention in Chicago, if Biden is the candidate, because they're like, okay, it's still Biden. We got to do it now, because if Trump wins, we can't do it.
That's fucking scary. That's fucking scary. Soul said processor technology is Taiwan. Technology is the future. Authoritarian globalization will not allow a small country like Taiwan to keep that for their own benefit. So it depends on which way it goes. Always said America would 100% lose an all-out war in the South China Sea. You already said that. I asked you before, is that the only way? Is that the only way? And we brought up nukes. I'm not saying that we would use them, but there's sanctions. There's all this kind of stuff. If we're getting to hot war, then we're getting to play. We're taking steps before that. Are we not? Or are we just gonna pop off? Again, I'm not a military strategist or anything, but I think we would probably want to set the tone first. I mean, and again, that I don't need one. I don't know how reasonable that is, and then two, I don't know how reasonable the people in power are. So that could be way out there. I really don't know. But Zippy says, well, indirectly, I don't know what that says. Opus said, Mood said the U.S. can win any war. I was contesting that statement. Well, yeah, but you are specifically you're choosing a type of fight. So, like, if somebody says, I can win any fight, and they're like, well, not if we tied your arms behind your back. Like, yeah, that's not what we were saying. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Mood, but I don't think that you were saying specifically in this particular type of war that we couldn't win. I'm just saying, whenever somebody uses extreme language like never, always, can't, it begs the question. Nuclear war isn't worth considering as long as it would fundamentally alter the entire planet, as if Taiwan, or as if China taking over Taiwan wouldn't. So I'm saying you're making your argument when you're straw manning my argument. I might still be wrong, but you're just not arguing my argument.
Okay, it's still Biden. We got to do it now, because if Trump
do it
wins,
now,
we can't do it. Because Trump's going to expand the base there and say, I dare you. It's very simple. All we have to do is expand the military presence in Taiwan we already have and say, I frickin' dare you.
So there you go. Who was saying it? Obis, what do you think happens of exactly what he just says? Trump takes office.
All you have to do is expand the military presence in Taiwan we already have and say, I frickin' dare you.
So we expand military presence in Taiwan with Donald Trump at the helm and do exactly what we did with North Korea. Why would that not work? And that's a genuine question. I that stuff, you know, I'm a culture war guy. So when it gets out of the country, then I'm basing my shit on, you know, mainstream media and bullshit. Got that one. Petrie said no country can ever invade the U.S. simply because the populace is armed way too much. That is one thing we definitely don't have to worry about. That doesn't mean that we can't get ourselves into a war that really fucks up our way of life. But you're goddamn right. Nobody's ever stepping foot in our yard. So you said nukes will not be used by first world. Indirectly funded groups aside. Plausible deniability. So you mean like we would have like I'm trying to put this in the right way, but so when you say indirectly funded groups, we're talking about something like an Al Qaeda or an ISIS or is that what we're talking about? And then if it was that we were in the position that we wanted to nuke somebody else, that we would then indirectly fund a group to do it. Is that what you're saying? Because that sounds like you agree with extra steps. So this all said exactly. Using being the key word. Where was that key word? Yeah, the globalists are using Taiwan to produce stuff. So I was saying exactly. Using being the key word. They will do whatever benefits them. If independence benefits, they will allow an independent Taiwan. If it doesn't, then they won't. All right, I think that probably sounds right to me. That sounds right to me. Guys, don't forget, we are coming up on the 2.5 hour mark. If you would like to keep the party raging, you know how to do it.
All we have to do is expand the military presence in Taiwan we already have and say, I frickin' dare you.
Yeah.
Right?
Whoops. Sorry about that. Hit the wrong button. Boom, 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 boom.
That's it.
They won't
it's very,
make
very
that
simple.
move with Trump.
But
Yeah,
to Glenn's point, Rob, the chart, this is exactly what you were referencing. The blue is Taiwan's market share of the world high-end chips.
Jeez, look at that.
You already looked at this. Unless this clip is from earlier in the podcast. We already looked at this, did we not?
It would be a terrible
disaster.
No, that's why.
By the way, this is from CNBC. This isn't from
This is 4 years ago.
Right?
And you want to understand national interests. Is it in our national interest? That's pretty clear.
Does anybody want to come up and chat, or do you want to use the rest of the show for the next clip? You know what? I'll just drop the link, and then if somebody comes up, then we'll come up. If you do come up, I just ask, please, that you turn your camera on. It makes everything all pretty. Thank you very much. Cody Stanford says the U.S. backed rebel groups in Syria starting in 2011, but Russia stepped in with their military to support Assad. Yeah, so I mean that kind of stuff makes sense to me. And if we're saying that, okay, well, the U.S. government isn't going to use a nuke, but a what did you call it? A fucking indirectly funded group that happens to be in line with America's interests is going to take American money and American weapons, and they're going to drop it. Like, okay, all right. I mean, sure, then America's not dropping a bomb, but that doesn't really change what we're talking about. A little bit pedantic, you know what I mean? I'm saying there's options. Hey, shout out to Indie Film. Oh my God, with the $5 cash super chat. Thank you so much. And of course, we got one for Morty, and that makes you the new co-sponsor of the stream. Thank you so much.
Oh, it's 100% national interest and international interest and China's interest and a lot of people's interest.
Yep.
This'll I remember when during COVID, used cars were selling for more than new cars. You're like, wait a minute, what's going on? Remember, you couldn't find a watch, you couldn't find anything.
Ford couldn't ship F-150 pickups. They had
my car was worth $20,000.
Shout out again to Indie Film and of course our boy Zippy the Strange. Thank you very much, guys. Is very, very, very much appreciated. And everybody say thank you to Indie Film and Zippy for keeping the party raging.
$20,000 more a year and a half, a year after I bought it. Like, what do you mean by this? This is like, we'll pay you 20 more. People are paying a premium for it. I'm like, you're kidding me? No. So it was a very weird time at that time.
So if you like,
Damn. All right. So moving back into some Trump talk. Trump will take on the elites. Heritage Foundation President scorched at Davos and the WEF.
Foundation leader bashes World Economic Forum during Davos event. Rob, if you got this, the video. Yeah, he is fantastic. Absolutely. If you have the clip, just play it. Oh, fantastic. Just go ahead and play the clip.
It's laughable that you would, or anyone would describe Davos as protecting liberal democracy. It's standing up for it. It's equally laughable to use the word dictatorship at Davos and aim that at President Trump. In fact, I think that's absurd. But I'm going to step aside from that constructive criticism and instead answer your question. Yep. And I'm going to be substantive here.
Ooh. We love substances, don't we?
President Trump, if he's the next president, for that matter, I think whoever the next conservative president is going to take on the power of the elites, which I mentioned earlier. But the thing that I want to drive home here, the very reason that I'm here at Davos, is to explain to many people in this room and who are watching, with all due respect, nothing personal, but that you're
this is a lot of caveats.
Part of the problem.
That's a lot of caveats to be like, you fucking shit up.
I want to drive home here. The very reason that I'm here at Davos is to explain to many people in this room and who are watching, with all due respect, nothing personal, but that you're part of the problem. Political elites tell the average people on 3 or 4 or 5 issues that the reality is X, when in fact reality is Y. Take immigration. Elites tell us that open borders and even illegal immigration are okay. The average person tells us in the United States that both rob them of the American way of life. They're right. President Trump will take that on behalf of the average American. Elites also tell us that public safety isn't a problem in big American cities. Just travel to New York or Washington or Dallas, Texas.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about marauding bands of people going in full black bloc and wiping shit off the shelves, setting fires. Yeah, you don't have to worry about that. Come on, what do you think this is? America 2024?
The average person will tell you that the lack of public safety damages not just the American way of life, but their life. President Trump will take that on. Thirdly, I guess the favorite at the World Economic Forum is climate change. Elites tell us that we have this existential crisis with so-called climate change. So much so that climate alarmism is probably the greatest cause for mental health crisis in the world. The solutions, the average person know,
is to keep your air conditioning at 78 degrees all summer. If you do that, then the polar ice caps won't melt.
Based on climate change, are far worse and more harmful and cost more human lives, especially in Europe during the time that you need heating, than do the problems and the problems themselves. Fourth, 2 more here, Robin. The fourth, China. The #1 adversary, not just to the United States, but to free people on planet Earth. Not only do we
climate change is absolutely more reasonable. Absolutely more reasonable. It makes at least logical sense that if I'm blowing some stuff into the air, that's going to change the air somehow. The fact that that's not what they say is another issue. Changing your I mean, in my world, gender and sex are inextricably connected. So to change your gender is to change your sex. And that ain't it. As stupid as the climate agenda is, it is not as crazy as the gender stuff.
To free people on planet Earth. Not only do we at Davos not say that, we give the Chinese Communist Party a platform. Count on President Trump ending that nonsense. And fifth, as we sit here, another supranational organization, the World Health Organization, is discussing foisting gender ideology upon the global South. These are practices that are under review, if not being rejected, by countries in Northern Europe. The new president...
Oh, definitely they're both ways to control, but he was saying which one is worse, or which one is more crazy, and more mental. Certainly, thinking that you can change your gender is crazy. Absolutely, they're both to control the populace. But one of them is definitely more mental. Our concerns are, exactly.
Especially if it's President Trump, will, as you like to say, trust the science. He will understand the basic biological reality.
Wait. I
of
missed
man
that one. I want to hear, because I know that at this point, when anybody's saying trust the science, they're being snarky at this point. Oh my goodness! Well, look! Oh my God! Wow! How did you know I was live, Bailey? Oh, it's so great to see you. I'm just kidding. Welcome. So you said I did mean mental, as in metal, as in brutal. I mean, yeah, that kind of undercuts your whole thing, man. I think you should just stuck with it. But anyway, and what's nice is the fact that they say stupid shit like CO2 is bad for the environment. It's literal plant food, right? But if you can be convinced of one fact that, I don't want to put my face, at the car, then it's the car's exhaust. I can understand how you could convince somebody that stuff is bad, so it comes out and more of it is bad. Just put your face in it. You'll see you won't like it. That doesn't make sense, but it makes a lot more sense than, hey, if you just wish upon a star, your dick and balls will drop off. Get the fuck out of my face with that shit. I said radical gender theory and climate change is just class warfare. Keep the people down and fighting with each other, chasing their own tails. Yep. Indeed, you are correct, sir. All right.
Foisting gender ideology upon the global south. These are practices that are under review, if not being rejected, by countries in Northern Europe. The new president, especially if it's President Trump, will, as you like to say, trust the science. He will understand the basic biological reality of manhood and womanhood. And do you know why?
Because it's real, because it's true, because it aligns with reality, and for no other reason. Because we're not here to make stuff up. We're not here to play fantasy. We're not here to play pretend or cosplay. That's why.
Wow. He is so
not because
good.
of retribution, not because he's a dictator,
fantastic.
but because he has the power of the American people behind him. And it's connected to Senator Portman's excellent point that in addition to needing a vigorous executive, we look forward to having the popular will inform both
and he's right.
House and Senate in 2025 to pass laws on all of those issues and
you can
many
pause
others.
it right there. So glad.
Exactly. He's like, hey, if you put your face in it too long, you won't be able to tell anybody. And so it's not a giant leap if you don't understand. Just see like, oh, okay, yeah, I can see how like lots of cars and lots of people and lots of faces. Oh, that's probably bad. I'm not saying that makes sense. I'm not saying that's true. I'm saying it's a lot easier for somebody to believe that than radical gender theory.
Glenn, I got a question for you. So question for you is, why would World Economic Forum have him?
We're just going to take a little bit of break, not breaking any terms of service. I just wanted to full screen and talk to you guys for just a second.
Give them the platform and Millet to say what they
So
said.
there are more elections this year than any other time in world history. Okay. It's happening all over the world.
It's like 60?
No, it's 42. 42% of people will be voting.
This year.
Gotcha.
Largest Christian country, largest Muslim countries this year.
Yeah. So it's happening unlike ever before. It's falling apart on them. Okay. People are starting to wake up all over the world and it's falling apart. They need to take some of that stink off of them. And I think by having them and being invited to go speak, you look like, well, no, now wait a minute, you're kind of reasonable. Okay.
He's a plant. He's a plant. Like, yeah, we're gonna get somebody in there who's gonna, take it to us and hey, you guys are part of the problem. Did I do it right? Yeah. Oh, he's one of them. But the gender theory is so absurd on its face that it should have died within weeks of hitting popular discussion. I agree. I am very surprised that it didn't, but here we are. But never underestimate the stupidity of large groups of people. Yep.
There were maybe 6 people that because he gave a speech, there may be 6 people that clapped occasionally. Same thing with Javier. Just nobody is supporting in that room. Nobody is supporting that, but they look open to at least listening to common sense. And they're doing it at the same time they've taken global warming off number one, war, not number one threat, economics, not number one. Their number one is mis and disinformation.
Yeah.
Okay. And they're
shout out to TikTok
saying, I mean, one of them said it, I think yesterday, that we control the science. We control the facts. That's ours.
And what does Zippy say here? COVID was a test. Gender theory is another test. Can't wait till the war test. Yep. And don't think that that COVID was the only health test that we need to keep you in your home. Don't think that they're not going to use lockdown type-esque stuff when it comes to the war test. It's cumulative. And it's not open book.
Wow, how arrogant is that?
Yeah.
Okay. They haven't changed at all, but they're changing faces. Just like, and I'd love to get your opinion on this. I saw a story. ESG is over. Bull crap. It will just be called something else.
D-E?
That's it.
Can I ask you one question about World Economic Forum?
I hate when people ask if they can ask a question. Why? Just ask the fucking question. MS69 said, too many people don't know who Dr. John Money is, the father of modern gender theory, and basically a man responsible for the deaths of two men via his ideas, not to mention a lot of other stuff. But yeah, he was jerking off toddlers. He was jerking off toddlers. Same guy they're talking about in What is a Woman. If you have not seen What is a Woman, I covered the entire thing and it's not a member stream. So just search Indian Jesus, What is a Woman, and you will be able to see the whole thing for free. And they go in depth with John Money, and it is bad. It is bad. Yeah, a lot of semantic obfuscation going on all over the place. All over the place. Is a free will as many stop being lazy? No. Okay. I mean, sure. Yeah, fine. But I was just making sure you weren't saying that because you said I believe in free will, because if I'm not mistaken, this was a joke given that we were talking about free will earlier today. So I'm just hoping that you're not saying, oh, Luck is saying laziness equals no free will. Yeah. Monster. If you don't know, and the name fits. The name fits in the worst possible way. We're not going to get into it here, but
That's it.
Can I ask you one question about World Economic Forum?
No.
Essentially, what was the gentleman who gave that speech?
Heritage.
He's the president.
It starts with a K, right?
His name is great.
Kevin
Give him a
Roberts.
shout out. Kevin Roberts, you killed it. He's basically saying,
Evan Roberts.
You know, the old "don't believe your lying eyes, nothing to see here" approach that Benny was talking about. It's essentially the conversation that we have in this country with it's Wall Street versus Main Street. We all know who's in Davos. That's Wall Street.
Correct.
That's the big money. But when we get to Malay, and this is kind of goes to, I know that you can weigh in on this. You know, there's an article out there in the Wall Street Journal. You can pull that up. It says,
put a 1 in the chat if you do not like Javier Milei.
Argentina's Milei gives Davos crowd a spine transplant. Think about those words. He's basically saying, find your spine, Davos. And he says this in so many words. Talks about the threat of collectivism. And I'm going to throw some terms your way. He said the Western world is in danger of being co-opted by a vision of the world that leads to poverty. Now, however you call these collectivist variants, right? And he starts with the globalists, right? The global elite, openly communist, fascist, Nazis, socialists, social democrats, democratic Christians, neo-Keynesians, progressive populists, nationalists, globalists, the global elites, whatever you want to call them. That is a pathway to poverty. So you know about what goes on in Europe, because Davos is in Europe,
Big
America, Western liberalism, totalitarian, socialism, Marxism. This is your wheelhouse. What do you think about what Milei said and what the
I think he's
actuality is?
absolutely right. This is, you know, in America, they've been very, very good. And they're doing this in every country. The farmers, they're extremists.
Yup.
Really?
Remember? Oh my God. Oh my God. When the Canadian trucker thing went down, I didn't know that I had that type of rage for something that wasn't immediately happening to my person. I did not know that I could feel that strongly about people I didn't know. It just hit different. Am I alone there?
Have you hung around the farmers? They're not extremists. In every country, they are painting people that disagree with the World Economic Forum as radicals.
Like the truck.
Shout out to Petrie. Thank you so much for hanging out. Definitely hit that subscribe, and I would love to have you back. Thank you. You have a good one. Yeah, so the trucker thing was fucked up. Like, oh my God. Yeah, exactly. It wasn't just like a how dare you thing. It was like, how can another human being, politician or not, how can another human being want this to be happening in their world, much less their country?
Drivers in Canada.
Truck drivers, and they're crazy radicals.
I told you. What did I tell you? Didn't I tell you? Because I told you. Mm-hmm.
No, they're not.
They're driving trucks.
So what?
Yeah, he's just like, I don't think they are, dude.
What people are missing is this isn't about Biden and Trump.
Holy shit! Shout out to Rumble. We got 10 people on Rumble. Shout out to Rumble. Say hi, guys. God damn. I just popped over onto the other tab. I didn't see you were all there. We got more people on Rumble than anywhere else. Shout out to Rumble. Let's go. Hey, we got Stephanie Miller in the building. Welcome to the party. Said sometimes just the idea of something happening is enough to outrage you. Yeah. It really is. I don't know how to put it into words. I don't know how to put it into words. So it was a perfect example of what can happen to us in this digital money age. And it was definitely too close for comfort. Canada being next door to the US. Yeah, exactly. Let's go. Hey, shout out to Opus over on Rumble. I gotta keep this open now. Bang, bang, bang. Let's go. Shout out to Rumble. I want to know you guys. You guys are part of the community now. Talk to me. Talk to us.
That's why they like Trump so much, because they can make him the boogeyman and make us hate Democrats and they hate the Republicans. This is the elites versus the people all over the world. Brexit was the first real punch in the face for the elites.
When was I wasn't I'm trying to think. Was it that or was it Occupy Wall Street? But either way, yeah. I mean, this is the same fight.
Right.
I want to fly my flag. That doesn't mean I hate other countries, but I want to fly my flag. I don't want to be told I have to fly a rainbow flag. I don't hate anybody, but don't tell me what I have to believe. Don't tell me that there are 98 different genders. That's not scientific. And don't say the science is settled, because it's never settled. Science is never settled.
That's the point of science. When you say the science, it's like saying, yes, I absolutely do believe that women get paid less or 70 cents on the dollar for the exact same job for the exact same hours. That's not what that means.
What are you talking about? And so people have been pushed and pushed and pushed and called so many names. They're starting to stand up. And what I
now that I think back, I remember like the big joke of Brexit was like, guess what the biggest Google search was the day after Brexit? What is Brexit? And it's like, okay, I mean, fair enough. We already know that it's not everybody is super into politics anyway. So we're just talking about a grassroots collection of people who want to do a thing. And it was so directly, that line was just, these are the bad people, these are the good people. And yeah. Cody said, building a Discord community, would love to talk with you at some point on X if you get a chance. Absolutely, man. We've got our own server here. You should definitely join. That is the easiest place to get to me. But like I said, grab that for you. It is free to join. We do have 2 free channels. We have our free chat, and shout out to Darian keeping that current events channel raging. But if you would like full access, including access to the after party, which happens after every single Monday, Wednesday, Friday stream. Just got to become a member and you get full access. We got watch parties. We got the word of the day contest going on. It's a lot of good stuff. Definitely check it out. So the soul said the science is never settled. There is no such thing as a consensus. Well, there is such a thing as consensus. There absolutely is such a thing as consensus. But that doesn't mean that there is no more work to be done. Also, science is usually science usually advances one grave at a time due to the structure of funding and education and such. A double-edged sword. Yeah, there's people who work on the exact same question their entire lives, and then they die. And somebody else has to pick up their work, and it's not until they're gone that their life's work is even looked at. That is the science. Oba said, I mean, to be fair, the EU is a union of countries ignoring the requirements to maintain their sovereignty, and America is the only real guarantor of their continued freedom. And the days of that guarantee are coming to an end quickly, thanks to the dying people and the military. But I think at the time, it was, even if this was true, there was no question that the U.S. wouldn't ever back up the EU. So, like you said, U.S. military. So we said there's a consensus. It tends to break down to 3 of the 5 main supported theories, and bit by bit they get worn down and redone or replaced. Sure, but like a consensus still does exist. I'm just saying that just because a consensus exists doesn't mean that is the science. But there is a collection of what most scientists in a given field are likely to agree upon, unless you're talking about the cutting edge stuff. So yeah, if you go into quantum mechanics, then the cutting edge stuff, there's going to be people who believe in string theory and this or in that. But nobody is going to be arguing that gravity exists in a closed loop. Like that's not something that is up for debate. That is like we've done enough tests that we don't need to test that one anymore, unless something fundamentally changes about how we understand macro physics. Is that not macro physics, but you know what I mean? Like not quantum physics, but the regular laws of physics. Well, I don't know how to differentiate. But unless something changes within the laws of physics, then nothing's going to change in the basis of quantum physics. That's how we can trust science. That's how I know that I can just press a button on a screen, and then it's going to be broadcast to all of you guys because of science. In terms of the sun revolving around the sun, the sun revolving around the earth was a consensus. The mRNA treatment was more effective than natural immunity was also a consensus. Yeah, and that doesn't mean that, like I said, now the consensus is that the earth revolves around the earth revolves around the sun. Now we know that natural immunity is more effective than mRNA treatment. I don't understand what you're trying to say. A consensus just means what a bunch of people agree on. That's all that we're saying. Well, looky who showed up. The one person I had in mind. I was like, oh, Guantek's gonna love this show. Welcome to the party, brother. You are definitely going to enjoy the replay on this one, but let's dive back in.
So many names, they're starting to stand up. And what I think the biggest surprise is going to come to the socialists and the communists that are all on this.
Yes, that's what we're saying. That's what consensus means. Nobody said it was an absolute truth. You said the consensus does not exist. There is no such thing as a consensus. Those are the words that you used. I'm just saying that is incorrect. That indeed, as you are saying, a consensus of narrative exists. A consensus just means that. So then, okay, be like, yeah, you're right. There is no. It was incorrect to say that it doesn't exist, but it's just not the science because there's a consensus.
The streets, they think that's what was going to happen. They'll be the first to be offed. Okay,
by who?
By whoever gets the power.
By them.
Okay. Because the people that are Democrats that are in on this WEF thing, they're all in it for money and power.
And this is where you get to like, well, okay, where's the paper on that? Where's your study? Where's your this? Where's your proof of it? It's like, okay, I don't have it. I don't have it. But if you think that all of this is just us pulling shit out of our ass, then you're fucking retarded.
They're not in it for anything else. They don't believe. I don't think they believe in anything except their own superiority. That other people just don't get it.
Yep.
And I want money and power because I'll tell the world how to do it.
And like I said before, it's not the Joe Bidens, it's not even the Klaus Schwabs or George Soroses that we need to worry about. It is the Jeffrey Epsteins and the Ghislaine Maxwells that we don't even know about, or we know very well, but we don't know what the fuck we're doing. What was that girl from the Superman show? Allison something, Smallville. She was on Smallville, and she was leading some trafficking ring. Now, do you think she was leading a trafficking ring, or do you think she was the face of a trafficking ring? And even bring it to Ghislaine, and there you go, Allison Mack. Thank you very, very much, Obis. I mean, these are the people that we need to worry about. The people that Allison Mack is working for. And yeah, exactly. We know about the Clintons, and even still, we can't even. There's only so much we can do. The Clintons are not our biggest enemy. They're the biggest enemy that we know, and that is a very, very, very big difference. Stephanie Miller said, in some situation, common sense should be enough proof. At least enough proof just to look further into it. At least enough proof to take the line of thinking seriously. Maybe common sense doesn't, common sense absolutely can lead you astray, which is why it's good to be skeptical, why it's good to have evidence, why it's good to, just have evidence for your conclusion. But as Stephanie's saying, sometimes you just don't have a paper or study or anything of something that you know, or at least that you know enough that there's something to pay attention. Didn't they like tattoo the women that were being yeah, probably. That's usually how that shit goes down. But yeah, and so like the question is, who was Allison Mack's boss? Or go up. How far does it go? Somebody somewhere in the government was aware of what was going on. You don't just get a case like, oh, wait a minute, I think something is askew here. No, they had to build the case. So shit was going down. And if she's the one that took the fall, then that means other people took deals. I mean, I don't know the details about the case, but that's how that shit works. So the ones that are truly in control, I think we don't even know their names at all. Yep. I never heard of Jeffrey Epstein before, all of that shit. Well, I mean, okay, I might have heard it in passing, but I sure as shit never heard of Ghislaine Maxwell. The ones we don't know their names at all, but that is for another conspiracy stream. Yep.
I want money and power because I'll tell the world how to do it. They're the ranchers. We're the sheep or the.
She was at the top, like she was the leader of the whole thing. We got to check that in the after party. That's going to be the after party.
Cows that are kept in a pen and then slaughtered. This is all about collectivism, like he said and you said. But people think it's about democracy. They think it's about the Republicans versus the Democrats. No, it is about all of us, the majority of the world, saying, can you guys stop? I just want to live my life. I just want to live my life. And them saying, these people are too stupid. They'll never see it coming.
It's almost like it's professors versus the truckers. And the professors say, I know what's better for you. They're like, listen, I know how to drive a truck. But when it comes to Trump, they've kind of almost run out of all their bullets. They've done the racist thing and the chauvinist thing and every other racial epithet they could use for him. Now it's the threat to democracy.
That's why I said earlier, or started to say.
The threat to, that's another thing. When they say our democracy, they do mean their democracy. We are here trying to protect a constitutional republic. They want their democracy. So when they say our democracy, you're not included. Okay, well, that's what I mean.
I worry about the true believers of this craziness that will try to kill him. Because no other bullets work against him. You're out.
Yeah, they've done the legal stuff.
Right.
They've done the raids, the FBI.
All of it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work. It doesn't work.
So, Glenn, are you? Because we've talked about this multiple times with all this predictive programming that they keep shoving in our faces. It's almost as if they're warning us there's something to come. If they can't, because I mean, I genuinely feel that in my heart. Their number one thing, if they could take them out. If this was if this was JFK time and there wasn't more than one Zapruder, 1,000% they would have tried to take this guy out. So since that can't be accomplished, I'm saying there probably still is a window because if there's a will, there's a way. What else do you think that we've been talking about it? What?
It's almost like I stream at the same time every week so that you guys can. Hey, shout out to Set Me on Fire 420 in the building. Welcome to the party. Good to see ya, brother. So the Soul said I was talking the whole world elite, not necessarily trafficking. The names that are above the right. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. So I think we're on the same page. How the fuck do you say that? That's some Elon Musk shit. I don't know what. That's like his kid's name. Opus said Trump, populism and nationalism is simple self-preservation, and most people want to continue to survive. It's only weirdos on the internet who really believe this self-destructive shit. Facts. The Opus said if Trump loses, I like how you put loses in quotes there. Trump loses in 2024. That will be very simple verification that the U.S. no longer has free and fair elections. Bingo. I completely agree. I don't think that there is any way that Trump is on the ballot, unless we have some huge black swan event. Obviously, things can change. But as it lies now, and I don't really see anything that would change that unless he is put behind bars, where I do think there's a lot of people who they're down. But if he's behind bars, then they just have too much of a trust in the institutions that whoa, he wouldn't be in jail if he didn't do something wrong, right? So, I'm just kidding, Guam. I'm here for you, brother. I'm here for you.
Is a window because, if there's a will, there's a way. What else do you think that we've been talking about it? What they would have up their sleeve to keep people from going to vote? Would there be an event? Would there be something to just not let this thing happen?
I think that we're living at a time where we're on borrowed time.
Yep.
We have had so many black swans.
Oh, Guamtech, I didn't realize that you had work and friends with problems. Now that I know, I will forgive you if you send a $20 cash app. Let's go. I'm just kidding.
Happened to us.
Just kidding.
It amazes me because when I was in 2006, I was saying storm is coming. This financial thing, it doesn't work. And they were all like, where did you get your degree? And I'm like, I can see it because I haven't studied what you studied. You believe in the system.
So that's how far back it goes, at least. That's how far back it goes, at least. What do you say, 2014? That the level of academia is actively preventing people from understanding reality. It is actively preventing people from properly understanding reality. But yeah, go spend $50,000 a semester on school.
I can look at it and go, these loans make no sense, okay? And we were hit in 2008, and I thought, well, that will really knock us down. Should have, but then they changed the rules of the game. But look at what this system has withstood. For almost 20 years, since 9/11, we have just been pounded over and over and over again. At some point, that thing is so rickety and has so many holes in it that a black swan event will collapse it.
And that's what I'm saying. I almost I don't see how there's not one last Hail Mary before they go to straight up assassination. I don't know what it would be. I don't know what it would look like, but I would be very surprised if there is not some all-encompassing black swan event that is meant to take out any chance that people would trust Trump. And I think we've gone far enough, and they've tried so much that hasn't worked that they will have to let him win and then take him out if they want to. But it's scary. It's scary. Yeah, so it's a screw college. We will need more electricians, plumbers, and mechanics very, very soon. Trade school is better at this point. No question of whether you'll have a job, at least. Yeah, if you're not going to be a doctor or, something that obviously needs school, then don't waste your time. I have a degree in psychology, and I mean, sometimes it helps me deal with my clients whose dogs are stressing them out. I guess it has an effect on how I see this stuff and maybe gives me a little bit of an edge there. But other than that, that's it.
You have control now by the radicals of the top and the streets. They don't have the middle, but they have the top and the streets. And this is the way communists usually take over countries.
Mm-hmm.
There's an event. Everybody looks at that event, or it causes so much chaos that the bottom rises up in the streets, causes more chaos. The people in the middle go, somebody's got to make this stop.
Mm-hmm.
And the top comes down.
I say, we'll fix everything for you. So, if not Trump, what's the genuine alternative that would keep the country turning to and running in the right direction? Well, that's why, I didn't want Vivek to bow out. But as of now, I don't know. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. Quamtech said, was it Glenn Beck with Alex Jones beating up on the crazy? The crazy teens and Destiny? Two big old conspiracy theorists. That was Glenn Greenwald, not Glenn Beck. He's gone. Destiny went over that part of it because he was saying how I watched something where it's like, I wanted to talk more to Glenn, but I have it on the playlist, but I haven't watched it yet. So I'm very curious to see what he has to say. But yeah, the Gayensteins, losers. Yeah, I hope so. Because that's what we were talking about earlier is, now that he's out of the race, then, he's a clear pick for VP, but is that the best position? Maybe he could be a press secretary, secretary of defense, secretary of this, that, or the other, where he has a little bit more to do so that he has a little bit more of a resume by 2027. Eddie Millam said exactly. I've been more right on the virus and the economy and other stories than university professor friends of mine because I've learned the scientific method and statistics and probability in school. Well, they did too. It's just that they learned a lot of extra stuff as well that has scrambled their brains. Yes, Steve. There you go. Once again, I still believe Alex Jones was the real godfather of the America First movement. Prove me wrong. I mean, I'm not ready to back you on that one, but I certainly cannot prove you wrong. I certainly cannot do that.
That's what they have planned. And I think we are a war, a serious economic shock, a mass killing, a terrorist attack. That's when things will change.
Yep.
And I think there is the possibility, if it would be bad enough, there's a possibility that we're just told, like we were with COVID, stay at home.
Yep.
You're not going anywhere.
What did I say before? You think this is the last time that they're going to say you got to stay home? Oh, honey, sweetie, baby. Oh, no. As was stated, apologize, whoever it was in the chat, that was all a big test. And there are more tests coming. And they are cumulative. They are taking notes on how far they can push you, which is why I continue to say, if you don't put on a mask, they will not be able to get to a vaccine mandate. And if it has to do with other shit, then yeah, exactly. There's already a mystery. Is there, though? Probably not, though, right? It's probably just the flu, like every single fucking year. They do it. Yep. And so, yeah, I mean, the notion that this is all in the past is, naive, is not even close to what we're talking about. The offensive that's coming. If they can't get Trump out before the election and he gets in, then there's nothing left. They have no other moves. And as Seven on Fire was asking, if he's out, and I mean dead, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? I don't have an answer, but I sure as shit want to be ready to think about it and understand the landscape when that question, unfortunately, if it does arise. Hopefully it doesn't, but if it does, I would like to be immediately aware of who's available, what's going on, who wants what, all of that shit. So the soul said, Disease X. Really? That just sounds like you're on Twitter too much. I don't know what to think about it, except that I bet it has gain of function research done on it if it exists. Yep. Did you guys see the Tim Cat? Or actually, that wasn't from today, but a few days ago. I'm kind of behind on YouTube because I've been watching Floribama Shore. But yeah, they apparently have a new gain of function thing they're doing in the Wuhan lab that has 100% fatality rate in mice when they've added whatever human protein. Cool. And here's the problem. Here's the fucking problem is that if we do get some sort of airborne Ebola type deal, then maybe you should take a shot if they have one. I don't know. That's why we need to constantly be reassessing the landscape as we go, not waiting to react to what happens. 1.6 is not the first time, and it was certainly something in the works for years before. Not the virus so much, but the reaction and the assault on liberty. Never let a good tragedy go to waste, and all that. Yep. That's what they're calling it. That's so gay. Gay. Well, I mean, if the mainstream media said it, it must be true. It must be true. Yeah, right. All this shit it's coming to a head, and they have so many different combinations of this, that, and the other to put together to be like, well, the antibiotics didn't work, and you dumped this in the whatever, and now you've been eating the fish that are microplastics, so now we're all gonna die. Like, it's too easy. It's too easy. But they fucked up by showing their cards during COVID. They fucked up. They took it one step too far and woke up a shit ton of people. So all you have to do is keep your head on a swivel, find people that you trust. Find people that you trust who don't all say the same thing. And figure out, okay, today, this is my plan for the next 24 hours. If it has to be a day at a time, a week at a time, whatever it is, there is something coming. There is something coming. Maybe Rush always seemed more like the 90s conservative than America First. Yeah. That's what I was going to ask you. But yeah, I think there's still a big difference though between a 90s conservative and a rhino. And I think that's still where I like that separation between Republican and conservative versus Democrat and liberal. There's overlap, but they are very different. Set Me on Fire said they're really trying all they have, all guns out, to make people mask up and backs up. Yep. So what you said, it sounded like she'd been on Twitter too much. I was just saying I've seen it there too. Fair enough. APOC? Apocalypse Peppers will be the ones to survive. Facts. If any of you got a fucking what are they using? Shipping container. If any of you guys got a shipping container buried somewhere and a stock of MREs, let me know. I'll keep you entertained. This is what I do, bro. I'll keep you entertained. I'll bring Morty. We'll make it. We'll be good. Context. We all know we're truly fucked if they get Trump out and it's Haley versus Biden. Conspiracy theorist in me says that's the knockout punch they want to use to break us. This is exactly why I was very like, now that Vivek is out. The last time when I don't know who was here and who was not, but both when I asked on stream and then I clipped that part and posted a clip, both you guys in the chat and the people in the comments of that clip were saying, nope, no way. If Haley's on the ticket, no way. Like, okay, well, I understand totally. But then what are you going to do? You're just not going to vote for Trump against Biden because of Nikki Haley? I don't think that's smart, but whatever. Mr. Glenn Beck could easily have gone neocon, but I believe he went MAGA instead. I think, I don't think it's as clear cut as that. I think a guy like him, like was it Guamsek? Who just said it? The 90s conservative thing. But yeah, it's that kind of thing where I think it's just a different time. He's from a different time where it wasn't so stark of a difference between neocon and America First or MAGA. There was more cohesion upon what do Republicans believe. Even if he agreed with people who were rhinos, there was still that difference. What? 705 said Vivek called it months ago. That'll be a 2-horse race between Trump and Haley. Yep. Okay, so what do you do? What are you doing? Are you abstaining? Like I genuinely want to know what you plan to do, and what do you plan to do? Especially now that he's said as much that it's not going to be hard. We can play with the hypothetical. What do you do? So far, he said no, but that's, I mean, you understand though that essentially means that we get 4 more years of Biden and Kamala. You think Nikki Haley as a vice president is worse than Biden and Harris in office? I don't know how that makes sense. I don't know how that makes sense. Yeah, right. Well, Vivek's gone. Oh, as VP. Yeah. That'd be great. If it's on, God forbid it, Haley versus Biden, we must let Biden win because the economy is already shit. It'll crash under either of them. Better to blame the Democrat who's actually the cause. That's so scary. It's probably, you know what? If I already had a life and a home and money in the bank, and I would probably say this too. But millennials don't have that. We don't have that. We can't afford to just let the economy crash for 4 years. We will starve. I don't know. I would be Guam, Texas. Haley versus Biden. One of the only times I find reasonable to join the riot. But even then, like, what are you rioting? Rioting for what? For what? Okay, but maybe she's not gonna fix anything. But if we have a country that's not, I'm not giving Haley this win or anything. But I'm just saying, we know that Biden will continue to tank everything. At least if we shout out to Leslie McDowell, Uniparty will indeed never let us starve. That is true. They need our labor too much. But like, being a little bit hyperbolic, I don't think that the typical millennial has the insulation to live through whatever you're hoping for on the other side. And again, I'm not saying that Haley's going to fix anything, but at least, and I will, like, if she was running as president, then I'm completely with you. I'm completely with you. Well, I mean, again, but that's, I don't know. This is scary. So the soul said, it makes sense to me because of what I said to you on Twitter. It would mean Trump has sold out. And what would be the difference between him and Biden then? Uniparty, deep state. I disagree that it would just be that he already had both sides of the establishment trying to take him down. I don't see how there is a better option. I just don't see a better option. And unlike where we were in a pre-Trump world, I don't think that abstaining is the same message that it was in 2016. It's just not the same thing. So I'm a millennial, and I'm not financially stable nor prepared for another 4 years of absolute chaos. That's what I'm saying. Like like it sounds cool to be, oh yeah, we'll do this and we'll do this. It's like, all right, well, how am I paying rent? I'm not paying rent now. And the only reason I'm not paying rent is because we're all broke. I'm depending on y'all motherfuckers. So if we're all broke, then first of all, there's no more Indian Jesus. There's no more YouTube for me. I'm saying, like, that's not a life. So I'm the only one. I'm only talking about Haley versus Biden. If Trump is in it, of course you vote Trump. Well, that's what I've been saying the entire time. I specifically said if it was Haley running for office, then yeah. Leslie said Trump tried to stop infinite banking, but the deep state would allow it. Unfortunately, not even Trump can stop these elite families. Well, again, I agree with you there, which is all the more reason why Trump is the only chance that we have. He's the only chance to help slow us down to figure out something like a Vivek or a Carrie Lake or whoever the fuck it is in 2028. I agree that the country doesn't survive to 2028 without Trump in office. That's I think it is that existential. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I've been wrong before, but that's just, I mean, I don't know. As we said, only downside, if Biden gets 4 more years, it will take a couple decades of French Revolution 3.0 to stabilize the nation. But it's for a better tomorrow. What button do I use with that? Yeah. Leslie said, Trump tried to, we got that one. Setting on Fire said, what's that congresswoman's name that Trump's, Tulsi Gabbard? Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, we were talking about her earlier. I think she's just a little too fair weather. But certainly better than Nikki Haley. I would vote a Trump Tulsi ticket 10 times over before I would vote anything with Nikki Haley on it. Don't get me wrong there. I hate Nikki Haley just as much as the rest of you. But at some point, think about how much culture they can shift when they're in power for another 4 years. Think about how much culture they shifted when Trump was in office. I just don't think that there's any bastion of what we would call our American society that exists that far. Who's Elsie Stefanik? Not familiar. Consider I probably just got put on a watch list for even suggesting that. Hey, watch list buddies, let's go. So Trump is a 4-year band-aid for a deep, deep wound. If we don't recover our culture, the adhesive will fail either way. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Yep. Facts, guys. So, I mean, yeah, this got a little dark. But the fact is, we have to be aware. We can't shy away just because we don't like things. It's really scary right now. But that is all the more reason why we need to pay attention, why we need to come together, why we need to talk about these things. I'm here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Don't get it twisted. I will be here unless I let you know something else. This is where it's happening. This is where the conversation is. This is where our game planning happens. It doesn't work if we're not here. So thank you so much for all of you being part of this. We need to do something. I don't know what it is yet, but we got some time to figure it out. As long as we stay paying attention like we have been doing. So shout out to Zippy the Strange, who gave us 2 gifted memberships. Thank you so much. If you just became a member, whether gift or otherwise, make sure you join the Discord and send me a DM so that I can make sure you get the full access, including the after party. And of course, we had Indie Film. Thank you so much. Got you guys almost another hour of content for $5. See, and YouTube, I give you guys everything. No, I'm just kidding. I love hanging out with you guys so much, which is why we're heading to the after party. If you are not a member of the Indian Jesus Discord server, please let me drop a link for you right now. Head on in there And it's a good ass time. Thank you again, guys. I really, really, really do hope that coming here is the first thing after entertaining. That's number one. You got to be entertained. So I know we got a little bit dark, but if it's not entertaining, I'm not doing my job. We got to talk about the important stuff, but we got to have fun while we're doing it. And the second part is talking about the important stuff, making sure that we are ready for what we don't know is coming. We don't know it's coming, and we're not going to see it until it's already here. So we have to prepare now for anything that we can. And I very much appreciate you guys being here, doing this with me. It's the only way. And I don't know. I can't say it enough. I really, really, really appreciate you guys. Oh, I missed this one. I like that, Gontek. That's better. That's a better line than saying she's a Democrat, that she's a uniparty show. That's much more accurate, I would say. But let's head over to the after party, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out. I really hope you enjoyed this. Once again, this is Morty, and I have been your host, Sludge, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming. Remember, don't wait for me. I got a bunch of stuff. Head over to the after party, and I will be there shortly. Thank you so much, guys. Oh, hell yeah. Let's do it. Starting now. Thank you so much for hanging out. Once again, guys, I will see you next time. I have been your host, Sludge, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Until next time, we are out of here. Peace.